Hey everyone, thanks for jumping in tonight. We got a special edition of Movie Club tonight. We're doing a Blockbuster edition. I thought this would be fun to get a good group of people together that I've been lucky enough to get to know this time messing around on YouTube and Instagram. Our panel is a little bit smaller tonight. Life happens, things come up, but we still have a great full panel, and I'm just excited to dig into some of these blockbuster movies and just have a fun discussion and see what you all in the chat think about some of our picks. And if you have any of your own that you want to throw out there. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start bringing out our guests. So right off the bat, I'm going to bring out Huck. How we doing today, Huck?
I'm good. There it is.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Wow.
So
spared no expense.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. That's how it works on my channel. So,
good.
So I appreciate you jumping on. Like I said, this whole group, I thought it'd be fun. It's like my Blockbuster group. It's like a lot of people that I've gotten to know earlier on before I started doing my own YouTube thing, just people that I watched their channels and jumped into their live chats and just kind of throwing out running into you right off the bat with the morning mug and some of your trivia shows. So it's always fun to have that. So, I appreciate you coming on tonight.
Oh, I'm super excited. I mean, who doesn't love a good blockbuster? So we got stacks. You don't know how many we're going to go through, but I got backups for backups. So let's go.
Yep. Luckily, my room, like we were talking about, I'm pretty small room. I can turn around and grab some more if we need to. So, I appreciate it. So I'm going to go on to the next one. Another that we have on here. His first videos I was running into was under the title of Conversation with a Certain Individual. So right off the bat, we're going to bring out here, we got KB. How we doing, KB?
What's up, everyone? How you doing?
So I was going to say, like, each one of these, I was going to kind of talk about like some of my first interactions, seeing you on YouTube. And like I said, I think the first one I ran across was one of your conversations that you had. And it's very cool to see how that has changed over time. So still having your conversations with, people out on YouTube, Instagram, things like that. But it's very cool. I've liked some of the, your recent ones where you're jumping into, some other people in the industry. And
yeah.
So how has that been going for you? Are you enjoying that so far?
Yeah, I am because, I think as collectors and hopefully collectors are also movie watchers that we kind of get into, the pieces of plastic and not so much about the filmmaking. And there's so much, I mean, this guy above me can tell you about that. There's so much that goes into making a movie, from the actors to the people behind the scenes to the post-production people. And I think as movie lovers, we need to learn how to appreciate all aspects of the movies and what it takes to make one. So I think it's a lot bigger than why didn't they put that Blu-ray out on 4K, It's the people behind it. So just anyone that I could get to give us a different glimpse into that, I think will be helpful. So I'm having fun with it. And we got some biggies coming up too.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. I'm looking forward to it. All right, we'll bring out our next one. And this is an individual that I know has been, not saying all you've been in YouTube way, way, way longer than I have, but I know he's been running for a long time. I think some of the initial ones I ran into from him had some toys involved with it. And then he's got some collection that is something else. And it's one of those things that I kind of wonder if like the National Film Preservation Foundation reach out to him to check which ones they're missing to have in their collection. But we'll go ahead and bring out, we got Tony in here.
Hello, how are we going?
Good. No, like just joking around a little bit, but you have an impressive collection. I'd say.
Thanks.
To say the least. That. It's and it's always fun to see the different editions that you're putting out daily, like opening up and showing on the videos. So I always have a good time looking at that because there's so many.
I appreciate you watching and commenting on all those daily videos.
Oh, well, no, hopefully it's adding something to it. I enjoy watching it. So it's just kind of like a little, hey, I was here and I checked it out, and but I got to say there's so many editions of those movies that I just never seen before. I kind of was, a lot of my collecting over the years had probably been your bare bone studio releases. which I still enjoy and love those, but it's been probably in the last couple of years that it's been more finding out that there's this whole boutique, stores. But,
So many choices out there.
yep.
It's hard to make your decision, so I just try to get whatever it is I want.
Do you remember? I know I'm putting you on the spot, so don't feel like you have to answer it. We always can come back to it later. But do you remember a boutique label that you hit pretty early on in your collecting that switched you over from, your standard studio releases?
I think it was the Scream Factory titles is what I was getting first.
Yeah.
And then that's early on when they started doing the slip covers and different things. And then during the pandemic, I started getting into Kino Lorber, Indicator, some of these overseas releases.
Yeah.
And it just kind of snowballed into what I've got back here now.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got to say, that's one of those things that too, I didn't get into the boutique labels like until a lot later on, but it was kind of funny when I found out that there's an actual thing of that. I started looking in my collection. I'm like, oh wait, I do have a Shout Factory in there, and I didn't even know what it was at the time. So no, very cool.
I was the same way on that, Corey. I didn't know at all what boutique was. I think I had some Criterions because I knew about those from Laserdiscs.
Yeah.
Right. So that I knew. That's the only one I knew. But then all of a sudden, through you guys, it was like Kino Lorber. Who's that? Arrow.
Yeah,
Now
same
it's
thing.
ridiculous.
My Chasing Amy and my Beastie Boys music videos were the early Criterions, Royal Tenenbaums being the first one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, so this is like fancy or something like that? So,
What's the big
You didn't know you were so fancy.
yeah, I didn't.
All right. I've been making him wait out here, and I know he rushed to be on here, and I appreciate it so much. But I got to say, like some people collecting movies is a big deal, but some people, that's just rookie level, and you got to like collect even more. And this is somebody I think that through a lot of these videos, I've enjoyed watching not only his movies, his extensive steelbook collection, but just all the prints, the movie props, the autographs, he hits so many different levels of collectible that it's awesome. And I don't have the room for it, but I love having friends that I can jump on their channel and watch their videos to see that. So we'll bring Tim out here. So how are we doing, Tim?
Howdy. I rushed to make this, but
I know. I feel bad. I feel bad.
Bravo.
I feel bad. I appreciate it so much, but that's the last thing I want. When I was throwing this out, I know a couple people couldn't make it tonight, which life happens and there's other things that come up, and this is just for fun. It's nothing serious. It's to hang out and have fun. And if it causes stress or conflicts with something else that's really important to you, or, if you're just not feeling good and you can't do it, it's not the end of the world. There's going to be other streams, and, I appreciate it though, you jumping on there, but hopefully you didn't have to rush around too much.
No, it's all good. I love blockbusters, so I was like, I got to make this work.
It's a fun one to do. So, and like I said, on your channel, I've had fun watching so many different collectibles that you've been throwing out. And I know that you took a breather, you're coming back energized and hitting it. And you're already throwing out the videos. Like today, it was like, one video is not enough. I got to do 2 today, So, and I haven't got the second one yet. There's the Vinegar Syndrome one I need to watch still from you, but that's awesome. So how you feeling? Are you feeling good about, your new direction or with your channel? Or?
I definitely am. I feel better now that I'm mentally telling myself I'm going to put out what I like. And regardless if like the autograph video today, it bombed, I'm okay with it.
I watched it and I had fun with it.
I'm glad that there was people that enjoyed it, and I'm happy that those people did. And if it doesn't hit cylinders with everyone else, it's okay. I'm going to put out what I enjoy.
Yeah, have fun with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Yep, it's
Tim,
it's not a job.
About the videos that bomb, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
I put so much love into a certain video. Like, dude, it's like when the last James Bond movie came out, they had like a whole exhibit out here. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna shoot that thing like a documentarian, and I'm gonna put it up 1 week before it's gonna be viral. Not even 100 people have seen it.
Yeah.
Hey, put it all in perspective. One of your bombs could be my like big blow up, video, So just like I said, it's not your job. It's fun. This is what I'm doing to not think about my job. It's just fun to hang out with people, talk about the fun stuff, the movies. But I appreciate each of you joining in tonight. This should be fun. We'll go through here, but I know we got a great chat running on right now.
Popping.
I know, and I'm going to be behind. I'm going to try to keep up with some of this, but we'll jump out here just real quick, and then we'll get into our movies. I promise. We won't turn it into one of my. We'll end today. How about we'll say that? we won't go into the next day. So,
11:59 p.m.
I'm going to go barbecue some ribs. I'll be right back.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be right back. We got Johnny in the house. What's up, cool kids? Patrick, what's up? Have a great show, Corey and Guess. I know you got one going on too. It's a busy night tonight. So anybody that's jumping in, I'll say I appreciate any time you spend with us, whether it's for the long haul, or just for a little bit, or if you're catching a replay. It really means the world to have you jump in and even check out a little bit of it. It's fun to see. That was me. I was saying hi. Holland, what's up?
Holland.
What's up, Holland?
We got Bonnie in the house.
Hey, Mama.
Hey, Bonnie.
Always love seeing her.
Hey, there's Tony.
Tony's here tonight. That's all right. I read mine too. Saying hi to each other. I always love this. I'll try not to spend too much time on it. If I miss anybody's comment, I apologize. I'm still a rookie with some of this, and I'm running through it real quick because I want to be respectful of everybody's time and dig into some of these movies. But we got Monkey in here saying an interesting idea. A new way, a Blockbuster night, an extravaganza of nostalgia and delight. It's Blockbuster night, and the feeling is right. Oh yes, it's Blockbuster night.
You got to say like
I know.
Gang.
Okay, I figured out what it was when I was like halfway through, and I'm like, I just butchered that.
Oh,
I
leave it up to the monkey.
It's Blockbuster night. Nope, I can't sing it. Monkey's always good with the intros.
Yeah,
for sure. Saying hi to each other. Oh, did I miss? I said hi. Did I see a hi to Movie Hunter? I might have missed that. I apologize. Like I said, I'm kind of running through here. Saying hi to Alex. Movie Warehouse. Happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for jumping in.
Thursday.
I had to think about it. I thought it was Friday for a second. My days are blurring together.
It feels like it should be.
It feels like a Friday.
It should be a Friday. It'd be better if it was
really rough tomorrow at work.
Yeah, I know.
Why am I working on a Saturday?
I know. That's when you wake up and you're like, oh, it shouldn't be a Friday still. Yep, let's talk Blockbuster. Saying hi to Huck. Got Jeff in here saying good evening, my friend.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping in. Tony P saying hey, Corey, Huck, and the rest of the panel.
Hey.
Thanks for jumping in. All right, I'm going to run through some of these real quick. We got Steve Moody in here. I just want to say hi, everybody.
What's up, Steve?
Tiana, how we doing?
What's up,
Tiana?
Tiana. She is like the ultimate supporter, I think. Right?
Yeah.
She's the best.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I can say that about so many people in here, but it seems like she's always like
Does it
first
do that?
right of it. Oh, it didn't do it for you. Maybe if I go.
I know. It doesn't work unless you're Mike. Doesn't work.
Hold on. Try it
You got to
again.
have the Mac.
I have a Mac, and it's.
Oh, I didn't do it.
The other day. Whose stream was that? It did it the other. Bob.
Yeah, no, I saw you doing it because you did.
There
it is. There
you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Got it.
Yeah, because you did
Now
the
it's
thumbs
official.
up too.
Oh yeah, I did. I don't know how that worked.
I don't either. I'm not even gonna pretend to know.
I don't know how to do it.
We got Jimmy in here. He's a Scottish Geek guy. How we doing?
Jimmy.
Howdy, folks. Saying hi to Tiana. Saying hi to each other. The king of conversation is on the panel. Lower your heads, you
You look cool,
peasants.
kid.
All right, I'm gonna skip past some of the highs. It's not just to kind of keep it moving along. But we got Dell in here saying what's up.
Brother
What's up, Dale?
Thanks for jumping in. I just want to make sure I at least hit who. I want to make sure I see everybody that's in here tonight. So, amen on the KB takes a lot of people and makes an amazing.
I loved everything KB was saying, especially when it's more than just the discs. I feel like sometimes too many people, all of us, get wrapped up in does it have a new release? And in the end, this is about the movies. Like, it's cool when they get new releases, but the movie's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, I could have 7 of the same thing as long as I have one. I'm really happy. But
yeah.
So somebody threw this question out the other day. It was kind of like an either or type of question, and not to go down a whole other path, but you know how I am. I kind of do that. But if you had the choice, would you want a 4K movie that was immaculate, perfect, exactly what you want, sound, visuals, everything, but it comes in just a plain old blank sleeve? Or would you want the most beautiful, elaborate, deluxe packaging and set with a so-so video and audio track on it?
Option one.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I never bought that film vault of Goodfellas. As much as I love that movie, I'm not going to buy that beautiful packaging for, not so good of a transfer of a 4K.
Yeah.
Which I could get for $9.95 or something like that. So, yeah, definitely option one.
What about Huck and Tony? Tony's thinking about it.
Tony's like, both.
Tony wants both. We already know.
Yeah. I want
Don't
both.
make me choose.
I do like the. I enjoy all these films that I've seen, and for the most part, and so now it's all about the packaging. The movie doesn't have to look the best. It doesn't have to have the best transfer. I do love good video, good audio, but I really like the packaging.
Amen. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, there's something to be said.
And I would say, since you said a so-so transfer, see, if you just said a good Blu-ray and a good 4K,
I didn't want to make it too easy.
And if the price point was about the same, I'd go for the loaded thing. Because sometimes, honestly, you can't even tell the difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K because the transfers aren't that good. But if it's substantial and you're saying it's yeah, I mean, let's get the movie to look good, y'all. Let's go. And then I'll go to Tony's house and borrow them.
There you go.
What's this, Tony?
You can look, just don't touch.
Yeah, exactly.
You have the gloves on.
Yeah, put the white gloves on.
No oils.
You got Mika in here saying hello, good people. I'll say hi to Kira too. I know that's probably Mika,
Yes.
but I can't say hi to one and not the other.
Hey, twins.
Saying hi. Okay, we can skip through that. We got Stacy in here making a Blockbuster night.
Hey, Stacy.
What's up, Stacy? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't talked to you in a while. I need to reach back out. We need to hit another movie sometime, Stacy. He's somewhat in my area, but back when I was a kid, there was VHS mail subscription club thing here in the UK called Britannia Movie Club, I think. This is back in the 80s and early 90s. That's what got 8-year-old me started. Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Nice.
I was more into it. There was a CD club that I did that was kind of like that. The 1 penny.
Columbia House.
We had
there's
the Columbia House Movie Club too. I used to buy my
Oh, that's
TV
right.
shows.
That's right.
Columbia House.
Columbia House and BMG. Was
I paid for mine. I paid for mine. I never just gave them the penny and kept everything.
Oh,
I paid.
I did.
But how many people had multiple names to get more of them?
What? No.
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 No comment.
Ask it. My grandma and grandpa are wondering why CDs are showing up in their mailbox or something. We're like, no, don't worry about that. That's mine. Yeah, exactly.
Corey, who's Paul?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, Mom. I'll take the package, though.
Everybody's saying hi. We got Tiger Blue in here saying hi to everybody.
What's up, Tiger?
Thanks for jumping in. Okay, we're running through. We got Ryan in here saying hi
Hey,
to
Ryan.
everybody.
What's good, Ryan?
Let's see here. I just want to make sure. I'm going to skip past a lot of the hellos. I apologize, everybody, just to keep running through here. But I want to make sure I at least say hi to everybody that's jumping in here. We got Russell, Texas. How we doing, man? What's happening,
Russell.
everyone? All right. I'm getting a little better at this whole chat thing, but we got Allie in here saying hi. Hi, everyone. Look at this awesome panel of gentlemen.
Aw.
Thanks for including me in that group.
Thank you.
Might be questionable sometimes, but we got Bob in here saying hi, everybody.
Howdy.
Thanks for
Hey,
jumping
Bob.
in. All right, we're gonna run through here. Sorry, everybody. We got Magic Hands. Say what
What's
up,
up, Mike?
everybody.
Howdy.
I at least want to recognize everybody that's in here quick, and I promise we'll get moving here. But everybody's saying hi. Oh wait, where did that come in? We got Laren in here saying, "Hey, Corey, Huckster, KB, Tim,
Laren.
Tony. Good
What
evening."
up, Larry?
Laren's always awesome to have in the chat. Thanks for jumping in, man.
Animal. you got to put up Holland's thing. Animal of gentlemen.
I'm missing it.
It's
Toward
third
the
from
bottom.
What's that? Way at the bottom?
Yeah, it's like third or fourth from the bottom.
Okay. I'll
Animal.
get there. Sorry.
You'll get there.
I'm working there. I'm working it.
I said I'm skipping for you.
Yeah, exactly. Got Anthony in here. What up, gang?
Anthony.
Thanks for jumping in. Allie saying hi. Okay, running through. Happy Optimus Prince. How's it going? What's up, Legends of the Flicks?
What's up, Prince?
Howdy.
Good evening.
I will forever remember your name now. It's like, how can you forget Prince, right?
Right.
We got Jane Doe in here. Hey, Mom. Hey, everyone. That's Jeff's mom, but she's my honorary mom, so I'll call her.
Oh, hey, honorary mom.
See, even Holland too. See, hi, Mom. Okay, I'm gonna skip past some of these and just say, okay, I missed the one. What were you talking about, Huck? You said Holland.
Holland just said Animal of Gentlemen.
Oh, there we go. I was. Yeah,
good play. Good wordplay.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. I think I actually got through that. Now I will try to jump back in the chat. I apologize, everybody, just to keep it rolling. I might not be able to go at it the whole time, but I'll put a star in there right now. So for tonight, we're hitting blockbusters, and I was talking about this would be a fun one where, like I said, this is like I wanted to get my blockbuster panel together. You know, some of the YouTubers that some of my early on that I remember watching, and then, believe it or not, getting the courage up to just even jump into the chat or leave a comment or something. Because for a long time I was one of the lurkers, and I think that just kind of happens a lot when you start watching these. But what I thought about with blockbusters is they're kind of like the fan favorites. You know, they're not saying you always like all of them, but they're fun. They're the popcorn movies. You go out, have a good time with it. And whether your definition of a blockbuster is any combination of huge budget, huge box office, take, huge cast, huge set pieces, whatever it is. So I'm going to be pretty open and whether, what you consider a blockbuster. We're just going to talk about movies and have fun and not worry too much about
nostalgia also plays a role growing up with certain films.
Definitely.
Yeah, I could see that too. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's one in particular. I didn't grab it, but it's right back here. I was trying to grab some different ones, but we can be all over. And like I said, this is not our top ones ever. They're not ranked. There's no particular order. This is just fun talking about movies.
Talking movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The way we like to do it.
Nobody's going to be thrown backstage for the rest of the
No, none of that.
There's no competition going on.
No run, and you got to be back in 30 seconds.
Right.
I'm not getting up at all.
This is just sitting down and relaxing and, having a good talk. Those are fun too, but
this is actually very different. I feel like I've been on a bunch of Bob's competitions, and this is different other than his top 10 movies where I absolutely trashed some of his movies. But
that was good TV. That was good TV, Tim. Come on, you know it.
But otherwise, though, this is just a chill stream, and I like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It'd be fun to just do that. I mean, the competitions are fun. Don't get me wrong.
They are.
They're fun. They get you all worked up. They get you going. You get some good competition and conversation or debates going on. But I just thought, this would be fun just to sit back and talk. But is it Jess here too?
Yes.
Larry,
wow.
Mood Reader. Hey,
Howdy.
everyone. I had to say hi. I know I said I put a pin in it, but I saw her name pop up. I got to say hi. I had Jess and Warren on, and they were two of the sweetest people you can run into, and they were so fun to have on my live stream. So it's kind of fun watching some of the stuff that they're putting out on Instagram right now. All right. So I know I got sidetracked again. So this is just going to be kind of a around the room, we'll take a turn to say a movie, whether you have it or not, it doesn't matter. You can say the title or show the title if you have it right there. You can say some words about it, and then we can just kind of have a little talk, see if anybody's jumping in on the chat, and then just talk about it and kind of run around, and we'll see how far we get, and if people are sick of me after a couple of rounds, you can just be like this, and we'll go from there. But since you're right next to me, Huck, you wanna kick it off? And I'll tell you this, it won't bother me either way. Do you want to go full screen when you show your movie, or do you just want to leave it like this?
I know, because I like seeing reactions. Like just keep
okay.
Like
well, I'll leave it like this then.
Because I like seeing people. And again, since this is free flowing, feel free to jump in while I'm talking. If you're excited, I like seeing that. So Tony, you said it. This is I'm picking things that are very specific for a reason, and a lot of them play in nostalgia. So this one is one of the first ones that just made me fall in love with movies. There was something very specific about it that made me believe in something special. Tony, you know where I'm going. KB, and it's that I could literally believe a man could fly. and that is Superman the movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I just can't tell you, like we all talk about how magic movies are. This was pure magic. When I saw Christopher Reeve, because no one knew who that was, he was Superman. Like it wasn't like, a megastar was playing Superman. Like nowadays, it's pretty much celebrities play superheroes. But back in the day, you found somebody that no one had heard of, and he is still, I think, the bar you set for anyone playing a superhero. So if it's Hugh Jackman playing Logan, it's because Chris Reeve set the bar for that. And he plays it like, while people are kind of being a little goofy in the movie, the one thing that Chris always does is he plays it real. Whether he's Clark or whether he's Superman, you believe both characters, and what he's trying to convey. And the fact that a 6'4" jacked up nerd can't be Superman, no one figures it out. It's hilarious. So yeah, this movie was just pure magic. I just love it. It's like a go-to for me. I saw it 7.5 times in the theater. The only reason I saw it at halftime is because Rocky 2 was playing, and I had a lot of time to kill. So I asked him, could I just stay in Superman? And I stayed into right when he became Superman and flew past the camera. And I'm like,
oh, nice.
Time to go see Rocky 2.
Go see Rocky 2.
So,
yeah, sounds like a good day.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my love and joy for Superman. Anybody else?
I have it too.
Yeah.
Yep, I have it here. That one has a close spot in my heart as well, for a lot of different reasons. But I'll just say that I think he, like you said, he did a great job of playing Superman and Clark Kent. Like he did a good job of
both.
Like it was believable in both roles, like because Clark Kent was very, I don't know, like reserved and like quiet and mousy almost a little bit, and then Superman, he took charge, and I don't know, I thought he was great for that movie. But I'll shut up. I'll let people talk.
Do we all remember the scene? There's a beautiful scene where he goes and he's on the date with Lois, and he comes in as Clark, and he's sort of hunched over, and as she's going to sort of prep herself for the night, he stands up and his entire posture changes, and he pulls his glasses off, and he literally becomes Superman while still wearing a tuxedo. I was like, oh my God, right? Like
it's like the transformation.
And I still think to this day, no one else has done both roles. Like Kal-El was a good Superman, but it's a pretty forgettable Clark Kent. Like I can't really pin anybody else down as a really great both roles,
Right, because they don't really, nowadays they don't really spend much time with the alter ego. It's all about the action and the superhero of it all. But yeah, that's what I really loved about this one. As a kid, it was just magical seeing that kind of a movie on the screen.
Well, and you didn't have all the comic book characters on the screen, so that was like a big deal. Like there was the TV
we had animated
show
characters, we had the black and white
TV
series. So yeah, this was really a big deal.
But this was like the first one you got to see like a real life person flying.
Oh,
I thought that was pretty cool. And I know I was young. I saw it later, but still as a very young kid later when it came out. But to me, still, I remember that whole, I don't know. They did a good job with the effects that they could do. I thought at the time for the flying.
Yeah.
Much more than him just jumping out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Springboard landing on a mattress.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So good.
Very good. Great pick. Absolutely.
Thanks,
I had that as one of my, not that you need my okay on it, but that was one of my like potential picks that I had. I grabbed the whole bunch of stuff.
Does anybody else just remember that moment when he's in the Fortress of Solitude and he's talking to the dad, and the dad's telling him about his heritage, and of course he ages 12 years. Must be some really good takeout in that Fortress of Solitude for 12 years. But then the mask, it goes through the eyeball, and the mask goes away. And there's Chris just sitting there in the costume. I can't tell you, I was like, and then he flies towards the camera, and then he banks his body so that you see the S at the camera. And that was like, I'm sure we've all seen the behind the scenes enough to know that he didn't tell the crew he could manipulate the wires like that. So when he banked and showed the S to the camera, everyone on the set lost their minds. They're like, did you see that? And that was the take. Oh, love it. Okay, I'll stop.
No, that's right. That's one thing but about any of these movies, we probably could talk for quite a long time on any of them. But I had to say, like, before I move on to the next one, now I missed it. But of course, we had Bob had to put a word in. He jumps in and says, "Play better if you don't want to go backstage."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Wow.
Leave it to Bob to throw a You don't even show up, and you got to come in here and
enjoy
poke
the
at
game,
us,
Bob.
you know? Yeah, exactly.
Go Luca.
Give you a hard time. But well, we'll just keep going around. We got KB next. You got what's your pick for one of them?
All right. I went for low hanging fruit to get started. So
okay.
talking about the fourth film all time, if you adjust for inflation and all that, start of a global franchise, which has seen better days in my opinion. But I played with the toys and the record and book set and all that stuff before I actually went to see it in the movie theater. And I'm talking about when it was just called Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not A New Hope. We didn't know what that was until
That's
the
right.
VHS came out. It was just called Star Wars. And I remember trying to see it twice in 77 that summer and could not because it was sold out. And there were, hundreds of people in line outside trying to get in. And I didn't see it in the theater until the following year because, yes, it was still playing a year later in 1978. And I just wanted to see it before the next movie came out because that's when they announced Empire. And I just remember I know people who see it today cannot appreciate it, whether they're comparing it to any of the subsequent films that came out, the CGI stuff. But when you look at the magic that they were making, and Industrial Light and Magic is a perfect name for that company because when you look at the magic that they were making in the middle of the 70s with just the resources they had at the time, it's truly amazing. And a lot of the things that we have today is responsible from this original movie. So you take a look at the top 20 highest grossing films and you have two of the sequels or prequels sequels from this movie. So and you already know there's kids who never seen this and can recite the Imperial March. Everyone knows what aluminum falcon is, so there's so many. And if you get that joke, robot chicken for that.
Aluminum falcon.
So it's just a global phenomenon. It has been for 40 plus years. So I don't know. This is like life. Yeah. I call my children Padawans. This is life for me. So
I was gonna say you enjoy it quite a bit because what about dog names even?
Yeah, that's right. Lando and Ahsoka. Thank you for remembering. So
I love that.
Everything in my life has something to relate to this movie. And you're right, Tony. There's definitely a lot of nostalgia behind what we consider to be blockbusters. But in this case, you're looking at almost $3.5 billion in the box office over years. Yeah. This is definitely a blockbuster. And going back to when Derek had his little tournament of different blockbusters, it came down to this and A Shark Named Bruce. And this is the one that we picked overall. So I had to give him a little shout out and a little acknowledgement to one of my favorite film franchises of all time. I got the Holy Trilogy posters on my wall over there. So it's definitely a love of mine.
Yeah, but even just the fact that it may not be going as strong as it did back in those days, because of all these subsequent sequels and TV shows and all this, but it's everybody still knows what Star Wars is. And, it's definitely one of my picks also.
Yes, sir.
But I got to see that one in the theater back when it was first released, and it was just amazing.
So what franchise has affected the most generations of kids, and adults even, that's got to be one of them. I mean,
That got a lot of people into making movies.
Yeah.
Like I know when I saw it, talk about the good old days, right? They had lobby cards out in the lobby where I was. And I just, so before I even got into I'm looking at just the stormtroopers and Chewbacca. I'm like, what am I looking at? It was just, my eyes were already like, what is this? Right. And hush, I'm doing stuff. And you get online, your fans start calling. It's a tough deal, y'all. But And look, that opening shot with the ship, we all know it just kept going. I'm so glad you picked this, KB, because I often feel like people are just tired of talking about the first Star Wars or just in general. And I'm like, it doesn't matter because it's still worthy of that.
Yeah.
To be talked about in that
way.
I
think people are tired of the saturation of it. Same thing with the MCU movies. It's nothing negative against, I'll continue to call it Star Wars. There's nothing negative against the first film. It's just that ever since then, it's been just this over obliteration of titles and franchises and toys and this and that and comic books.
How much can we wring out of this?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's become like this almighty cash cow that, if you get too much of a good thing, sometimes it turns on you. Turns on you. I will recommend one more thing on that. There's a series called Icons Unleashed, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they have one on Star Wars. Each episode covers each of the six movies. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Just a little more insight. I mean, as much as I know about Star Wars, I learned some stuff too. So
yeah. And also, I think there's a thing on Netflix about is it The Toys That Made Us? To where back then the movie tie-ins for these films like Star Wars, Superman, the toys were like an afterthought. Nowadays, they're making movies just to sell the toys and the merchandise.
Well,
so,
Lucas was ahead of his time when he cut that deal with because they'll never make a deal like that ever again with the director. Because But Tim, what were you going to say? I saw you.
Yeah. So something I love about movies, you take something like Star Wars, and it's one of the biggest and best blockbusters of all time. It's something anyone could just sit down and kind of, chill with some popcorn, eat and enjoy. But then it's also a movie where if you wanted to dig deeper, like George Lucas wrote that as like an allegory for the Vietnam War. And there's actually deeper meaning to something like Star Wars. And you could watch it and actually look at the deeper meaning, or you could just have fun and chill and watch the Rebels and the Alliance go at it. It's just a fun time.
Well, it's a movie you can watch it as a kid and have a fun time with it, and you can watch it as an adult and pull some of those things out of it, like you're talking about right now too. Like it can hit different age groups. It's one that spans. It's not just a kid movie or an adult movie. It's a wide range. And before we move on to the next one, I'm going to say, so KB, like you were hitting on that. Can you imagine a movie lasting more than 2 weeks in a theater? First of all, nowadays, and being on streaming within a month after that, almost, or two, even the effects from then, I see some CGI stuff now that looks worse than what they did in the original Star Wars. To me, in my opinion, I don't know, but
because practical models look better.
Yeah. So,
and God bless Marsha Lucas.
That's right.
I mean, come on, she put the pace in that film.
Yeah,
it's got the Oscar.
Pacing is everything.
It is, especially for a movie like that.
No, great. That's another great pick. I'm gonna hit a couple chats just real quick here. But Bedell was, and I know this is going back, but it says Reeve was the only one who understood that he had to make Clark and Superman feel like two different people.
Right.
We were kind of hitting on that. He did a good job with it.
Yep.
We got Trini jumping in. Hey, Trini. What's up?
Salute.
Love seeing you in here. Thanks, sir. Mika was saying finally watched the first 3 Star Wars films, which was on my watch list. Yeah, it's always funny because I always get that a lot of times too, where there's always some movie on my list where somebody's like, "How have you not seen that before?" But it just hits you at different times in your life, and but that's all right. Stacy was saying always great to listen to Huck talk about Superman, such passion and joy for the film.
Yes.
Yeah, I get a little nerdy.
No, I love it too. I love the.
That's why I picked it.
Yep. All right, we're gonna go on to Tim. What do you got for us, Tim?
All right, so I'm going with, well, it would be right there in my top 3 for favorite movies of all time. A movie that absolutely shaped the action genre as we know it. You look at action movies before 1988 and you look at action movies after 1988, and they're completely different because Die Hard created the everyday action hero.
There you go, Tim.
Yes, there we go.
We'll support you, Tim.
We got you covered, baby.
I was going to say, I had it sitting right here too.
There you go.
That's how good it is. We're all ready to go.
But it's crazy though. I love Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Like I love that stuff. But they're all like jacked up. They don't look like most everyday people. And then you look at someone like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, and he looks like he could have been almost anybody. He didn't look like he was like ridiculously ripped or anything like that. He just looked like an everyday guy who is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he saves the day. That movie is so badass and so rewatchable. It's so quotable. John McClane will go down as like one of the best characters ever on screen. So I freaking love Die Hard, and I love what it did for action movies, because preceding it or succeeding it, we get movies like Speed. Speed would have never existed if Die Hard didn't exist.
Yeah.
And Speed's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Die Hard 2, like you said, he looked more like a regular everyday guy that was taking this on, and he wasn't like just total dominate, and just like he had his struggles through that movie, and he got hurt, you know, and he struggled through some things, and there was emotion, whatever. But I mean, yeah, it made it very believable. You know, it looked like a more everyday guy, and he had his struggles and wasn't just like obliterating the enemy, you know, kind of a thing.
Yeah, you watch a lot of like Schwarzenegger movies, and he's getting hit or anything like that, and he just kind of shrugs it off. He's like the size of a tree. It means nothing. But like Bruce Willis is walking over broken glass, and for the rest of the movie, you could tell his slight limp, and he's picking glass out of his feet. It's like those little touches. If that was a Schwarzenegger movie, he just walks over that glass and drop kicks someone in the glass to their face. Like it's totally
not out of breath, not sweating or anything. Just
none of it.
Yeah.
I just love the commentary that he does on himself while he's in the. He's just like, what is happening? And he's like, I mean, what do you think? I'm ordering a pizza? Like he's anything to get help. I'm so glad you picked this, Tim, because it is. I can't agree more that it is one of the most rewatchable films. I saw it again last year, and it's like I've never seen it before. I'm just still loving every second. Talk about Marshall Lucas killing it with Star Wars. The editor for Die Hard crushes it. I mean, John McTiernan and the editor worked together to make that pace absolutely perfect. And let us not forget Hans Gruber, one of the greatest.
I was about to say, we didn't talk about one of the best villains.
Yeah,
man.
So much charisma. I mean, that's where you got to learn that a good hero is only as good as his villain, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of villains are just so like by the numbers and just sort of, you know, angry people and just, you know, but man, Hans, man, I love that movie.
I love how in that movie, though, we get hardly any screen time of the two of them opposite each other. And that moment when he's Bill Clay, and he ends up having the gun and trying to point it at him. I love that moment. Like these two hardly shared a screen at all. And then there's that moment, and it's so good.
But that's where it was great. That was a nice how they did that with the movie, because they never saw each other. So John McClane didn't know when he first ran across them. Yeah, what he looked like. And,
it's such a well-crafted movie. And the it's so mean when you know it now, but like the fact that they dropped him early, like they were counting down 1, 2, 3, and they dropped him on 2. So when Hans is falling, that's actually his expression because he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. Oh.
Right.
And look, can we give it up for Argyle too, the limo driver? Awesome is Argyle. I freaking love that guy. He's so good. All the supporting characters are awesome too.
Yeah.
The villains, the straight people, the everybody.
And even you were voting against me the other night, Huck, that it's not a buddy cop movie. You know, it's like I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I turned around when I thought, well, I guess Al Pal through radio makes it a buddy cop. But, you know.
I like him too, though, in that he did I forget his actual name. I'm bad with people's names, but yeah, I thought he did a good job with that role as well.
But did
Reginald Bell Johnson.
Yes.
From Family Matters.
Yes, absolutely. The dad. Yep.
In the early stages of this movie, though, before Bruce got anywhere near it, they had to cast, they had to offer Frank Sinatra the role.
Yeah,
that's I can't fathom that. But it's
as
good
John McClane.
Yes, this because Die Hard is a loose adaptation of a book of that Sinatra played the character in a prior movie. So it was one of those like technical loopholes where Sinatra had to be offered the role. He was way too old, turned it down, and that's how it eventually ended up getting to Bruce, which even at the time, they didn't even want Bruce because he was the guy from
Moonlighting.
Yeah.
And I think he did Blind Date just before that, right? That was his own.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that didn't do well. But that's what's funny. It's easy to look back and say it now, but like, could you imagine anybody else other than Bruce Willis playing that role? When you, and maybe it's, you know, it's hard to go back and like say that, but it's just like one of those where you're just like, I could not see anybody else pulling. He brought a lot to it, I thought. But,
yeah, the charm and the snark. You have.
Yeah,
that's what made him different than Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
The sarcasm.
Yeah.
And we got people chiming in with it. We got Johnny, and Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And,
somebody had to say it.
And Ryan, best Christmas movie ever. Anthony, damn straight, Ryan.
I'm not gonna argue that on the show.
I can't fathom though Schwarzenegger sitting on a sink with a cigarette in his mouth, talking on the walkie while he's pulling glass out of his feet.
Yeah.
Like nothing about that fits Schwarzenegger or Stallone.
Yeah.
Or Sinatra.
Or Sinatra.
Yeah, for that point.
Maybe more him than the other two.
It's Tiger Blues. Bruce Willis might not have been jacked in Die Hard, but he was cool.
He was cool.
But that's what made him. I mean, that scene, you had to be somewhat vulnerable to pull that off. Like you're seeing, like it's not just like it's some glass, I'll pull it out. You know, it's not like Last Action Hero where it's like, oh, it's just flesh wound. You know, I'm okay. I'll keep going. Like he was hurt and it slowed him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, well, yeah. Del was saying Speed was intended as a Die Hard sequel.
Everything did become Die Hard on this, Die Hard on that, right?
Yeah.
Talk about influence. There you go.
Yep.
Just
Under Siege, Die Hard on a boat.
Prince was saying Die Hard is one of those movies where it doesn't have to be rebooted. Mic drop.
Nope.
Just leave it alone. Leave it alone.
It didn't even need a fifth movie. That movie betrayed John McClane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Hans
Booby.
I'm your white
knight.
That guy is hilarious in the movie too. The wheeler and dealer.
Hart Bachner. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I put a pin in there. So Tony, what do we got for your first pick?
So my first pick is from 1981, and it is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
yeah.
I knew Huck wanted that one.
That was my next one, Tony.
Yep. Sorry, I had to get something because everybody's already picked mine.
Let's go though.
I knew this would be hard.
This is another one when I was a kid. This is what I really enjoyed, and I remember seeing that one in the theater. But the fact that this archaeologist is out looking for the Ark of the Covenant and fighting these Nazis, you know, the first part of the movie is kind of slow starting because you're getting the character build up. But as far as a blockbuster adventure film, this right here, to me, is what started it out, you know, personally for me. But all the Indiana Jones films, you know, those don't get talked about as much as Star Wars and all these other ones. But yeah, to me, I just love a really good adventure film done right, and to me, that set it off. And that was one of my first ones that I really enjoyed, especially with Harrison Ford, because you know we see him in the Star Wars films. I guess he did this one right after Empire Strikes Back, I believe.
And right before Blade Runner.
Yeah, and so he really had longevity as far as playing two big blockbuster characters.
Is he in the most franchise movies ever? Probably.
Yeah.
He's the billionaire. He was the first $1 million man.
I will say this, Tony. I will correct you on one thing because the thing about Raiders and then all of the subsequent Indiana Jones films is they have great openings. You know, in music, when we talk about albums, we talk about great openers or great closers. That movie has a great opening. Yes, as you do character development, it takes a while to get into it. But the opening sequence, getting the getting the thing and the rolling rock and all that. That is a great way to open a movie.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I won't concur with you on that one, but I know what you mean about building the character.
I think really what I was thinking about is him being a professor.
Yeah.
The rest in his, I'm thinking, okay, where's this going?
Mm-hmm.
Or, as a kid, you don't want to be bored to death at the beginning.
Yeah.
But you definitely wanted more of that opening scene.
Right, exactly. Yes, definitely.
The transition, though, at that point where the movie just throws you in and he's going to get this idol. You see the people he's with get killed. He's running to the plane with arrows going by his head. And then it's just that hard cut to him teaching in a classroom.
Right, exactly.
It's so jarring, but so great because it shows both like his smart intellect teacher personality and the adventurer side of him. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But that opening, I'd love that though, because if I remember that, like it started for a long time. You don't see his face for a long time. And it's like, he's mysterious, in this like kind of figuring, you're trying to figure it out. And there's a couple of the people that are helping him get through the jungle and they're scared about certain things. And he's just kind of stoic and going through. But then you get that twist and it's kind of going back to John McClane in Die Hard where he ends up being a regular guy. Like he's got his fear of snakes,
Right.
He's got, he has his trips and follies, as he's going along. He's not perfect when he's going through the movie.
And then the ending with the face melt was pretty, it kind of stuck with the kid,
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I remember being freaked out about that.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It was so good. I remember when I first went to see it, I thought it was going to be like a Western because I was part of like the Lucas fan club. And before that movie came out, they sent like a flyer. And one of the images was, when they're digging in the right place because they're digging in the wrong place. And it's just like this sunset behind them. And it's the silhouette of them digging. And you just see silhouette, sun, Indy hat. That was the picture they sent. I'm like, what is this movie? Like because I'm a big Star Wars fan. What is this? And I went with just sort of no clue what to expect. And when it was done, I'm telling you, for me, like it wasn't even slow because even the teaching stuff at the beginning when the girl like blinks her eyes and she's like, love you on her eyes, like you're laughing, like they knew just where to drop in some humor throughout the film. And Harrison was perfectly cast, like to the point where right near the end, he's just beat down. And he's like, well, where doesn't it hurt? He's like, here, on my elbow, kisses the elbow.
And then maybe here.
And then finally kisses his lips. And then he just falls asleep because he's done. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that's when it's refreshing when they're going back to Die Hard too, like both these where they're regular people. They have their limits. There's only so much they can do.
Dude needs a nap.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. And this is also one of those where Lucas didn't want him because he always had this thing of I don't want to rehire actors I've used, and he already used him as Bob Falfa, so he already had to break his rule by putting him in Star Wars. So then to break it again, and I know we all know that Tom Selleck was considered, but Magnum PI contract kept him off of it. And finally, Spielberg is like, look, I think Harrison's the guy. And it's hard to even imagine this would even be talked about as much if Tom Selleck was. I think it'd still be a good movie, but I don't know. Harrison just has some extra secret sauce, on him.
Tim, what were you going to say?
John Williams has done countless amazing themes. I put the Raiders theme up there, probably top 3.
Yes. Very recognizable as far as you just start that.
Yeah.
It's great.
As soon as you hear it.
I love that soundtrack.
Absolutely. We got Tim. Thank you for picking McClane. I know some of these are from past picks, but McClane, that's one of for nostalgia. Miko is saying Love Speed, such a great film. Keanu and Sandra together, great chemistry. It's a fun one.
Oh yeah.
But you can see the tie-ins, the influence, but yeah, it's definitely fun. Yep. Going through just Die Hard, a fave of ours, just great action film. Yep. Let's go through here just real quickly. Die Hard didn't need a fourth either. McClane became a superhero right there.
I agree, but the fourth, I actually don't. I think the fourth is kind of fun. A little watered down, but kind of fun. That fifth one, though. Oh.
That was your Hey, Guy, jumping in here saying, hey, please hit that like button for these amazing panel. Thank you, sir.
Okay, man.
And then Johnny, Jock, start the plane.
Yeah. And he had a good catch too. He had a fish on the end of his hook. He's like, oh man,
I know, and he had to think about it too, right? Because he was like, what do I do? What do I do? All right, I'm gonna go with my pick right now. So all of them have been great, and all of them were ones I was considering, and so I've been taking stuff out of the pile or didn't grab them because some stuff's really close, so I just left it there just in case, because I figured some of these are so great, I knew they were going to come up. But this one I grabbed, and I truly was thinking about it anyway, but today is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the storming of Normandy, so we got Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that would be good for today too, but this is one of those that, man, that opening, the storming of the beach of Normandy on that movie, it is, I still remember that. And I mean, you go back, it's a very, to me anyway, a very powerful scene. And from what I've heard, people looking back at it, it's been a very accurate, some of the other parts of the movie, maybe not so much, but that storming of the beach, they said is pretty accurate to what actually occurred when they did that. It's one of those that had a great cast. It had I felt like a great story, and it just, I think overall it was a powerful movie. So that was one that always stuck with me.
Yeah. I'll always be grateful for Saving Private Ryan because it gave us Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan didn't exist. We don't have Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So, and one other thing that I thought about, we were talking about scores. So earlier today, I was watching a video from another friend, Sin's Corner. She was watching the opening sequence. They're storming the beach in Normandy, and she pointed this out. I didn't notice it, but I went back and watched it again, and I was like, yeah, right. But they do not play a score through that storming of the beach. You just have the sounds of the battle. You have the gunshots, the explosions, the cries from the people. I mean, and I think that made it even more powerful, where they just shut everything else off and you just heard, like what they would be hearing at that moment. But they definitely had a great score through the rest of the movie, but that was interesting. I wasn't thinking about that when she pointed that out.
Yeah.
Yep. That would be one to experience, like if you have a setup or access, or if they make a re-release, to experience in Atmos, because that soundtrack really is a score with bullets whizzing past your head and overhead, and the camera going in the water, submerging, coming back up, bullets whizzing underwater, all that in different directions. That's really, it was an immersive feeling just seeing it for the first time on a big screen. So you could just imagine with the sound technology the way it is now, how it would add to it and make it feel, if it's even possible to say, even more immersive.
Yeah. So it kind of makes you wonder why they don't do more of those kind of re-releases. It seems like they cater more toward more recent releases, when they do a re-release. But I would love to see some of these done at the theater again.
That's definitely one for me, just for that opening scene, if nothing else.
Yeah. I remember seeing it in the theater, and I guess it's one that always struck home to me a lot. Both my grandfathers were in World War II. One was a captain, the pilot of a B-24 bomber over in Europe, and one was a Marine. He was actually at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed, and then was in Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima. They spoke so little of that experience, and like seeing some realistic depictions of, even though they weren't there at that beach. I mean, this is something that can be, translated over to wherever you were at in that war. Made it hit home more to me, and realize why they just never spoke about it. I mean, it's kind of hard to think about how young those men were, men and women. I mean, in like Pearl Harbor too, there was hospitals, nurses, doctors that were killed in that too. But it's pretty sobering when you think about how young a lot of them were and what they're going through at that moment, and seeing friends and acquaintances die right in front of them. So anyway, that one, not to go somber, but that it just kind of hit home, and it just kind of brought it home, because it was one thing as a kid. I always was interested in military planes and tanks and things like that. And it was one thing that before I knew any better, asking my grandfathers about that, and they just would shut it down and wouldn't want to talk about it. And you know, when you see things like that, you get a little bit older, you can just see why they did not want to revisit that, you know, portion.
Yeah, every time Corey came around, they would just kind of go off.
They would just be like,
go to the backyard or hide somewhere. They didn't
get
want
that
to
kid away. Get that kid
Go
away.
for a smoke.
Actually, it wasn't because of that. There was other reasons probably. Oh, there's that stinky kid again or something. You know, it's like, get him away from me. But no, but that was a great movie. And so that was my pick on that. So not to go.
Good.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's probably my favorite war film too of all time. Like that's the one. I'm not like a huge war person, although with the Collectors Club, I watched a lot more war, Tim, thanks to you guys, and they were really fantastic. Like I feel like it's a genre I've not been embracing all that much, but there's some fantastic. Like 1917 was great, and but yeah, Private Ryan still should have got that Oscar. It just had so much goodness to it.
Yeah.
Yep. There's some great older ones too. Like if you dig back into, was there like A Bridge Too Far and Guns of Navarone? And I mean, if you go back to Green Berets, there was a bunch of those I remember watching when I was younger.
Oh, the 40s and 50s is riddled with war movies.
Yeah.
There are so many.
Popular genre.
Yep. We got Ms. Caveman in here saying hi to everybody.
How's it going?
Hello. All right, I'm going to jump through here. We got Movie Collector Maniac. Hello, Corey, Huck, Katie, Tim, Tony in chat. It's hard to go through all that. This is the most people I've ever had on my channel at the same time. So this is pretty cool. I got a lot of firsts here. All right. So that was round one. How are we doing?
Yeah.
We're doing
good.
This has been fun.
That was an excellent round.
All right. Do we want to keep the same order or do we want to mix it up a little bit?
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
Okay, Huck, go for it then.
All right. Well, what I'm first of all, I'm really happy you all picked what you picked because it helped we may not go as long because you certainly hit all my favorites. Literally, you're all like hitting.
You're like, please don't go as long as he normally goes. No.
Yeah. Now, and again, I'm sticking with that. You know, what I grew up with, I just couldn't get enough. I went back, saw it several times. When it came out on video, I bought it in every iteration. And I'm bringing a musical into this, and that is Grease.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
like, I know it seems silly, but there was something. Look, John Travolta at his most beautiful, right? And same with Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
These two had just impeccable screen chemistry. The cast was so great as well. I mean, you know, Rizzo,
Knocker Channing.
Yeah.
Knocker Channing. Oh my God, Knocker Channing is so good. But the songs were super catchy. I remember as soon as this movie was over, I ran out and I bought the soundtrack. I would play that soundtrack on the turntable as a 2-record, thing. And then I would go back and see it again. And then they released it, years after as a re-release. Saw it again then. And I don't know. It's just, there was something so much fun about this film. And just, I fell in love with Olivia. She became one of my little childhood crushes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know. I love Grease. It's like hands down still my favorite musical of all time.
Yeah.
So what summer was that? 78, 79?
I want to say 79 because it was just before the turn of the decade.
Yeah. So
because it wasn't the year. I feel like
a couple of memories from that was one, we went from, at least like the kids in my neighborhood, we went from consistently listening to Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, converting over to just listening to the Grease soundtrack. I remember going to the theater, like you said, several times, the little girls outside singing Summer Nights and all that.
Yeah.
In New York City, and I asked my wife earlier, like, what do you think of when I say summer or just blockbuster movies? And she mentioned Grease, of course. And we have this ongoing conversation where it's like certain things that bothers me for years upon end. Like I couldn't understand why in the subways, a Universal movie was right next to a Paramount movie in the movie posters in the subway station. So Grease was right next to Jaws 2. From 2 different studios, something you would never see today because, that's like proprietary space. We can't have the competition right
buy
now.
out both spots.
This is our territory.
But it was like if you saw Grease 2, you saw Jaws. If you saw Grease, you saw Jaws 2, and vice versa. And I just remember it was always there. It was always there in the subway stations like that. And if it wasn't a commercial for Grease, it was a commercial for Jaws 2. So those are the two movies I remember that summer going head to head.
Yeah, I don't really remember seeing commercials back then. I always remember just looking at the Saturday paper to figure out what we wanted to go see. But I don't, for whatever reason, I remember Siskel and Ebert, watching that on Saturday mornings to see what the reviews were. But I don't remember commercials with trailers or anything back in the day.
I watch a lot of television.
That's why
I didn't have a Tim.
so important.
I had me.
Yeah.
Movie poster.
What were you saying, Tim?
I was saying that's why movie posters were so important.
Oh, they'd sell the movie to you.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, back then, even when I was a kid, though, and I mean, we're talking 90s for me, that you still didn't see everything. You didn't get bombarded with trailers like you do now. You just go on any website now. You're bombarded with trailers for everything. You log on YouTube. It's trailers for everything. Even back when I was a kid, it was still just whatever came on TV at that time. Yeah. So a movie poster sold you on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Now you go to the movies and you see nothing but 30 minutes worth of trailers before the film starts.
And they show you most of the movie. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
Nope.
No.
This is slowly becoming another episode of Gen X cinema.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
No, but like seriously though, not to like dwell on that, but like Tony, when you're talking about Siskel and Ebert, I remember watching that to figure out what movies I wanted to watch.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of the trailers because they'd show some little clips, but they showed so little, they didn't give away anything major in the movie, but they would show like a little scene or something. But that was like the biggest thing towards a trailer I remember having, you know, as a kid. But oh, that's a good one. Huck, that's a great pick because it definitely fits, but it's one that's out of pocket. You know, like I didn't think about that right off the bat, but as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that's a great one to have.
And John was super hot with Welcome Back, Kotter, and of course Saturday Night Fever or Saturday Night Fever. Didn't that came out just before it, right?
The year before.
Yeah, the year before. So Travolta was big in the zeitgeist at that moment too. And that was a big sweat.
John, she had her singing career going by that point, didn't she?
Yeah. She was already a singer.
Yep. So as I say, they both were pretty hot, probably ticket items at the time when they did the movie. But I'm gonna run through here. Now is not the time for me to get into whether Private Ryan should have gotten Best Picture.
That's right, Johnny.
We'll move on from that one. Let me just run through here really quickly. Just was saying, I saw Grease so much over the years, but it's been a bit now. Yep.
You should go watch it.
Pop it back in. Be like yesterday.
I saw one other. Oh gosh, I miss somebody's comment that I was going to read.
What do I think about the sequel? That's what Prince is asking. It's
Allie
okay.
loved it. I know
it's
that
okay.
much.
Oh, here. This is one I was going to read. Jane Doe was saying our local drive-in is doing a retro double feature weekend of Grease and Footloose. That's a great double feature.
Yeah, that sounds like a great double feature.
That's a lot of dancing and singing going on, but that'd be a fun time.
Get out your cars.
And then what was Jeff saying? It's a fun time, Johnny. Just count how many 35-year-olds are playing high schoolers.
Just let it go. Just let it go.
All
right. KB, what do you got going on next?
All right. We've been hitting the nostalgia pretty hard, but we were talking about movies that stayed in the theater. Like I mentioned, Star Wars, and it stayed in the theater for a long time. These days, the majority of films don't last anywhere near that long. The only thing I could think of as far as a recent blockbuster would be the 12th highest highest grossing film of all time, which is not that old. I mean, it came out Memorial Day and it stayed in the theater until the Friday before it was released on physical media, which was November 1st, if I remember the date. So that's a pretty long run these days.
Where are you going?
We're going with Top Gun Maverick. It's the movie that nobody thought would do what it did. This is the closest thing we have to a modern day blockbuster, because forget about your Endgame and your Avatar 16 and all that. This is a blockbuster. This is something you don't expect for it to pop off the way it does. Nobody expected Star Wars to be a hit. No one expected Die Hard. Maybe Raiders, because you had Lucas and Spielberg, but no one expected this to do the numbers it did. And for people, I know by Memorial Day, by that Monday, I saw it 3 times by then, because I went to an early screening. I went back the Saturday with my son, and I think I went back the Monday. So I personally saw it 3 times in the theaters before the first weekend ended. So yeah, it's a great movie. It's a lot more than people expected. I'm kind of glad that Tom Cruise fought to keep it out during the pandemic and said, hey, no, I want people to see this on a big screen. And people went against what they thought, Top Gun sequel, do we really need that? No, sometimes you get something you don't expect and something you didn't know you needed. And
so many people that didn't even see Top Gun saw this.
Yeah.
And that was the great thing about it. It plays well by itself. You don't
have to see the first one. Yeah.
For a matter of fact, I think it kind of does a disservice because it works so well as a standalone. But even if you've seen it and you have nostalgia for the first one, there were enough tie-ins with Goose and his son and all that for you to still feel that nostalgia. But this is a great movie all in its own, and it's a great 4K. Oh my gosh, if you got any kind of a system, it is such a workout. If you have an OLED or a projector, if you have like any kind of surround sound, if you have a subwoofer, it's just gonna rock your house. So yeah, everything about this movie is just great. So yeah, Top Gun Maverick.
I have some of those movies where I'll just throw in and watch like one scene. And so there's that where he goes out against the permission and does that run to get it underneath the time, and he's like pushing that whole like crank up the sound and just sit back and there's a certain movies I'll just throw in one scene and just you could have a blast just watching that however many minutes that is. But
yeah, a couple of months ago I was at my in-laws house and my father-in-law, as soon as I come over, is something technical not working in the house, he's like, you got a minute? I was like, sure, Pops. And I knew exactly that he wants something technical fixed. And he is like, my sound bar and my surround is not working. So I hooked it up with his Roku. I put it all on one remote. And I was like, we got to test this. So I pulled up, I think it was on Prime Video or whatever. And you're right, Corey, that exact same scene. And he's like, I never heard it sound like this. And he's like looking at their collectibles, their ceramics on the wall and whatnot. I was like, it's not that loud. It's not going to fall. But yeah, that place was rocking. It was rocking. It was great.
Oh, that's a fun scene to watch. I think that was such a perfect storm. And that was such a life booster for movie theaters. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like coming out of everything else that was going on, to have something like it was like the perfect storm. Like you had the people with the nostalgia of the first movie, and like you said, it could be a standalone movie. People didn't need to see the first one, and people I think were itching to get back out and doing things. And I don't know, it was great the way that it happened. And man, I think that was such a theaters were probably. I most theaters probably have like that poster hanging up and they'd be like, that brought us back, kind of a thing. 'Cause it got people back out into the theater.
Definitely saved a few theaters.
What was also great too, KB, when you said it lasted all the way up to when it was released on video, is when I was doing the box office reports, I also remember that on Labor Day, when they have $3 movie day, like to get people back into the theaters for that. And believe it or not, Top Gun Maverick came back around 4 months after it came out, and it hit the #1 spot on that day.
Amazing.
Everyone went out and go, oh, today's the perfect day to re-see it because I only got to pay $3 to go see it again. And it took #1. I'm like, my mind is blown that a movie nowadays can still be in the theater, and then 4 months later get the #1 spot again. That was crazy.
I don't, unless we get some kind of, they're promising some kind of MCU reunion movie with like 60 characters in it, which just sounds ridiculous in just like trying to think of it. That's the only way I could see something having a run close to that. Otherwise, I don't think we'll see a movie like that for a couple of years that stays in the theater that long.
How long was the run though? For Greatest Showman was quite a length.
Yeah.
That thing was already on Blu-ray, and it was still in theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know the length, but that thing felt like a while.
The same thing with Maverick, though, because I know a couple of multiplexes were still having like 1Z, 2Z shows a day. Meanwhile, you know, I'm holding my 4K Steelbook, and I'm like, why? Just go buy it. But you know,
Yeah, Raiders was in the theater for me for 60 weeks. I remember when they were getting rid of it, they put an ad out in the paper telling people farewell. Indy rides off into the sunset after 60 weeks. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Got a lot of people chiming in for you, KB, on your pick there.
thank you.
We got Gizmo in the house too, always giving me a hard time, but I appreciate it, man. All right, no, that's a great pick, man. That's the thing. We could probably just go down through these, and each time we're like, "Yep, that's a great one. That's a great one." So, we got Tim. What we got going on?
So here's one I bet nobody has in their pile, but we all know when we think of like spies and stuff, James Bond is like one of the biggest characters ever. But what about Jason Bourne? The Bourne identity is freaking great. Shaky cam. But during that first movie, the shaky cam actually kind of makes it, especially during like the car chase scene, which is still to this day one of the best car chase scenes in a movie, I think. But Bourne Identity is freaking great. The franchise goes a little bit downhill as it goes, but put those to the side. That first movie, that put Matt Damon even more on the map. That type of thing. That's a hell of a movie. I don't. How much do you guys like Bourne Identity?
100%.
I don't know if you want me to pull it, Tim, but it's
I like
right
all of
there.
them.
You could see the white.
I like all of them except
I
for
got
the
my old
one.
little steel. I don't know what is that. The steel,
Nice.
the old steel
Steelbooks,
book.
yeah.
I like the set. So
Target exclusives.
Yep.
Yeah, and ironically for me, I even like the second one better than the first one. I thought Supremacy, isn't that the second one? I thought that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. You know, sort of like Empire. It's like it's rare that a sequel can be as good or better, and I like it.
I think I like them basically in the order they come out.
Yeah,
essentially, but
like from top to
least. But that
Jeremy Renner.
I love Bond, but Jason Bourne could give Bond a little bit of a run for his money.
Yeah, it was nice seeing a different type of spy movie, something different. And it also reminds me a bit of the earlier Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah, it was a hot time for all of those kind of films.
I like the storyline too with the amnesia. I don't know. I kind of like that, and him trying to figure out his past. But
the tenseness of being in the consulate and trying to escape the consulate. There's really tense scenes in that movie.
It's funny how you compared it to James Bond, because I feel like Quantum of Solace literally is a Jason Bourne movie, like to the point where, which is why I don't like it as a Bond movie, because I'm like, look, now you're knocking off Jason Bourne. You like Bond movies set the bar for action adventure. They have since the 60s, and yet now you're stealing from Bourne for this. Yeah, Quantum of Solace. Yeah. Now Casino Royale, I would say that gives Bourne a run for his money.
Much better.
Oh, Casino Royale. Yeah, really.
So good.
But like, you're talking about the chase scenes or the car chases, but that I always remember that with that little old Mini that he's
little Mini Cooper
turning around and going down through those alleyways and down the stairs and stuff. That was some great. But I love that where he like looks over at her and he's like, "Do you keep this car like tuned or whatever?" I can't remember exactly how he says it, but I just felt like the tires are a little squishy. Is there anything wrong with it? And she's like, "No, why?" And then he like takes off.
I still to this day think that's one of the best car chase scenes, though. It's so good.
Oh, that's good.
And now everybody tries to do the best, since then.
I can see that. Yeah.
What's crazy though is like a movie can try to one up it, but just bigger, larger, longer doesn't make it better. There's just some movies just nail it. The length they are, the way they're shot. Bourne's is perfect.
I liked. I always forget her name. I was just talking about this the other night too. But the lady, the actress that is with him, she's in Run Lola Run as well. That's
such a good movie.
Yeah,
that's it is.
But I like her in that too. I don't know. Anyway, she did a good job in it too.
Figured I'd give a little bit of an out there choice. I didn't think anyone would have that.
No, I thought about it, but I did not pick it.
Yeah, no, it definitely fits perfectly for that. what we got? Oh, we got people chiming in on links of movies. Lord of the Rings was in the theater for like years as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I might make Gizmo mad later. Well, I won't pull that comment up. We'll see if I decide if I want to make him angry with one of my picks or not. But all right, Tony, what do you got?
So we, Sonia and I both loved Top Gun Maverick. Brought back a lot of nostalgia for us. So one of my picks is the original Top Gun.
Right.
This came out in '86, back when we were in high school, and we loved the soundtrack. The story, you know, thinking back on it, is really a lot more nostalgia than it is being a great movie. Which Top Gun Maverick was a great movie, but Top Gun the original, we just really enjoyed it. They say that people applying for the Air Force and all this stuff after this movie came out, it really drew the people in. People wanted to be fighter pilots and all these things. I didn't, you know, I knew better. But yeah, it was just a fun movie, a good summer blockbuster movie.
They said the same after Maverick as well. They saw a bump.
Oh, really?
Recruitments, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my son, I know it's Navy for Top Gun, but
my
son went it. My son, but I mean, but even with other branches, they saw bumps with that. And like my son was in the Air Force after Maverick, so who knows? Maybe played something into that. But
yeah, I bought a motorcycle, and Sonia hopped on the back of the motorcycle, and we just rode down. And no, I'm just kidding.
You
Right,
rode down and played some sand volleyball. And
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Shirtless volleyball.
slow motion flexing while you were gonna serve.
Spin that ball.
All my hair was just flying in the wind. And,
Right?
Right down I-95.
And you got Highway to the Danger Zone or whatever. Highway to, you got a great soundtrack with it too.
Yeah.
And
Excellent soundtrack.
Yes.
Almost audibly squealed though during Maverick the fact that they brought back Danger Zone right in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good throwbacks in that film.
It's like,
he had
let's
the old
take you back.
motorcycle. He had the old motorcycle in the hangar too. And
Yeah.
The score part of that film is really nice too. There's these like bells or like tones that they hit when the planes are coming. And I rewatched both of those back to back like about 2 months ago, starting with the first one. And I didn't remember the soundtrack other than the songs. And those tones are in the first movie as well. I thought that was completely in like a second movie thing. But yeah, I was like, oh, all right. So that's the theme, the through line, you know, of Top Gun.
no, that's a great one. I still remember to this day, we didn't see it in the theater, but I was quite a bit younger, but I remember that was a VHS tape that my dad bought and we were all watching it. We had not, I don't think we had a VCR for very long before that. We had rent one before, like at the rental store, when you go rent a VHS tape, you'd rent a VCR as well to take home because they were too expensive for us to buy at the time. But anyway, there was a couple of movies I remember they're buying, and they bought Top Gun. They hadn't seen it yet either, and we were all sitting around watching it. And then there's the whole black silhouette scene where they're kissing and starting to make out, and you see like tongues coming out of the mouth. And my dad, I remember him stopping the movie and be like, "Kids, you're out of the." He didn't know what was going to happen. He was, "You can come back in a little bit when I tell you can come back in the room." But it's funny how that was pretty risque for the time and how things have changed. When you just barely see a silhouette of that, but
times have changed.
Yes, they have. We got the volleyball scene. Yep, see, best soundtrack, volleyball scene. There's so many things that you can think of that movie.
The volleyball scene.
Yep. Top Gun Maverick made me want to go back and own the original Top Gun. The respect paid to Goose and Ice Man, etc., made me want the full story in my collection.
Yep.
There you go.
I can see that. Both Top Gun movies have great soundtracks.
Yep.
Tony is the epitome of "Take My Breath Away." That song was playing in that scene. My dad stopped and was like, "Get out, kids!"
As soon as you started hearing that theme, you knew to cover the kids' eyes up.
Yep, kids, earmuffs and iPad. You know. What was that? Gizmo. Was it you or your brother Tony who had the tattoo on the leg? It looked like a Hell's Angel brother tattoo. Tell me, Tony, all your secrets. I think you were talking about the motorcycle, probably.
It's my brother. My brother has the tattoos, but they're Star Wars related.
That's all right. Run through here. Okay. All right. Man, so many different ways we could go with this. I know. I got to throw a Western in. I always got to have a Western in here somewhere. So I'm gonna put Dances with Wolves.
Oh.
So I consider a blockbuster. I don't know. This way it can be debatable on some, but I think it brought in a ton in the box office, and it was a big epic film, you know. But I always liked Kevin Costner and that movie. And we had a buckskin horse that looked almost identical like that we had forever. We called her Drip. Her name was Drip, and loved her. She was part of the family. We had horses growing up, and so I think that tied it in even more. Mm-hmm. Just having, you know, a horse in our family and seeing that and his connection with that horse in that film, I think is great too.
I've only seen that film once, but I definitely should revisit that one.
Well, I bought this. I haven't watched it again since I bought this Steelbook, but there's a director's cut on here. The regular is pretty darn long. The director's cut, of course, is longer, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to tackle that long. I've never seen the director.
We're all used to longer movies now, though.
But I think this is pushing like, I can't remember. It was like 4.5 hours. I might be exaggerating, but I thought it was like pretty darn long. I could be exaggerating. I do that a lot.
Here's a little interesting tidbit too. So back when that came to home video, that thing was renting out of video stores like crazy, and stores that were selling VHS copies were like $69.99, $79.99, etc. McDonald's partnered with the studio and released that thing for like $8.99 or whatever. When you bought a meal, you got the VHS copy for that cheap, and that royally pissed off all of the home video stores because they were undercutting everybody to get Dances with Wolves on VHS.
I just think I could see that where they'd be really maybe like, how much profits you're taking away from us, but I don't know. That just to me was like, it's just one of those epic, and maybe you can say it's over the top of like the length and the setting, and but I enjoyed it, and it's like multiple stories. I mean, it's like almost a lifetime that movie covers, you know, from him starting off in the war, and what he goes through, and him finding that horse and ended up getting to keep it, and then getting to pick his next station where he wants to just go out west, like away from everything, and just his character's growth and the arc he takes throughout that movie is, I don't know. It's a great movie. It's
watch it.
It's long enough where you can't just like throw it in every other weekend to watch, but now I'm curious to go check the director's cut out, but I might have to split it up a couple, but I don't know if you all get into Westerns at all, or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if you don't. It's okay.
I do. I love them.
I know it's not for everybody.
I did like that one though. Like Tony, I saw it probably a long time ago when it came out, maybe once on video, but it's been forever. And I did look. That cut alone is 3 hours and 1 minute. So yeah, the director's cut, man. But that one,
look that up.
The theatrical was 3 hours. So
wow.
Yeah,
I gotta see
really
what.
I remember liking it a lot. Now I was pulling for Kevin. I was a big Kevin Costner fan back in the day too, so I was pulling for him to win that Oscar, which he did. So that was awesome.
I'll have to look it up some other time. But I thought it was pushing 4 hours or just over for the director's cut.
It could. This is just IMDb. That's what.
Oh no. Like I agree with like the regular run is still like it's a long movie, so you know. Yeah. They're at least adding a half hour probably too.
At least,
yeah. So yeah, it's a definitely a long movie. But I was seeing here, I got a couple people. Oh, Tiana scared of horses. She's like, yeah. So that movie's not for her.
They can be very scary. They're huge animals.
You got to respect them, and there's places you don't stand around them.
Yeah, just shy of 4 hours. You're right.
Is it just about?
It's 236 minutes, which is just shy.
Yeah.
I just remember getting that. I'm like, I'm going to watch the director's cut. And I'm like, maybe not right now. So you think about 2-hour movies.
I shouldn't say anything because I watched Godfather 1 and 2 as one sitting. So that's not that bad.
Wow, that's a good run.
KB.
Tiger Blue is saying, I absolutely love Dance with the Wolves when I saw it in cinema. Haven't seen it in decades, though. Need to see it again soon. I think that's what happens sometimes when you get those movies. They'd be great, but if they push a certain length, does it kind of push you away from revisiting it really soon? I guess, what are your guys' thoughts?
It's easier for me to see longer movies at the theater because, really not being interrupted. And to me, the movie goes by pretty quickly. But at home, you can find yourself pausing it and getting up and going. And I'd rather see it in one sitting on a big screen.
I'm the same way.
If I had KB's TV, maybe, I could pretend that I was in the theater. But
I will bring my TV to your room, and then we can sit there and watch.
Where we gonna put it at? That's my problem.
That is true. You don't have any room left.
Nope.
My problem, even with a good movie, if I get 3 hours in and I'm all comfortable sitting back on my couch, I'll probably fall asleep or something, whether it's a great movie or not. Like you get a certain length of time and I start getting tired. We got some more saying, Johnny was saying, watch the director's cut, Corey. You won't regret it. I need to do that, but I might have to split it up. Mika was saying love dances. I love seeing that. So I know Mika, you and Kira are huge in the horror, but it's kind of cool when you hear some of the other movies that people. Yeah, I think
they pretty much love everything though, as far as every genre.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they're great at giving recommendations. They got a great. They know their movies. Tiger Blue was saying Dance with Wolves. Love stands with fists. Yep. Costner, baby. Yep. Must agree, Dances with Wolves was a fantastic story. Yeah, that's great. I enjoyed it. Just saw Dances with Wolves a couple weeks ago. I think I'm okay with never seeing the director's cut. Great ending. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I'll have to check that out. The Academy got it right with Dances with Wolves. I said it. I said what I said.
We're with you, Johnny. He
wants to start a fight. All I'm saying. Oh yeah, there you go. 3 hours 56 for director's cut. Yep. Yeah, man. I'm going to have to cut that one up. Hey, Adam. What's up, everyone? Just checking in for a moment.
What's up, Adam?
Hey.
Catch the replay later. Have a great stream, guys. Thanks for jumping in, man. Saying hi, everybody. I'll run through here. Tiger Blue is saying, I don't mind really long movies at home. I recently rewatched all the Lord of the Rings extended versions. Wow. One movie, one sitting, but each of those was, that's a lot of
one sitting.
Wow. We used to do that with the kids, like take a Sunday and just start early, start early and just go through them and just stop in between for bio breaks and food, but back to back. And then by the end you want to cry, and it's not just because Return of the King is so emotional at the end. You're like, wow, I really spent all day watching these movies.
Right.
That's a long time.
Ooh, good
would you pick Dance with Wolves over Waterworld? Yes, I would. It doesn't matter if you would pick differently, but that's just my personal opinion. You better crack that open, Jeff. Oh yeah, he was saying he still has his sealed up. So, all right, we got through 2 rounds. Everybody still hanging in there?
Yep.
Doing all right.
All right. Huck, what do we got, man?
Well, I mean, everyone keeps ruining it, so let's just cut to the chase and go Lord of the Rings. We're going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. I love these movies. Like, the links don't bother me with these. It's all because Jackson does such a wonderful job with the characters, right? And the actors he chose to play these characters. Don't even have to list them. And we all know the cast that's here. That's one of the best ensembles ever put together. He figured a way to make people's heights and all that stuff work, even like the cinematography, like practical, like getting Gandalf at a table, but then the hobbits at further of the table, but then when you shoot them, they look like they're right across from each other. All those little in the camera effects, I love that sort of stuff. And just and this is also the first movie I saw with my wife. Is the first one, but I'm sort of grouping the whole thing together as just an experience because it really is sort of and they released them just a year apart, so it wasn't a long wait. So when the other one was over, next year, it was like brilliant, and it didn't affect the box office for any of them. Like when the last one got here, it did not. It only made it better, and it swept the Oscars. It won all 11, which is like for anything to sweep, it's a rare thing. I think only 3 have done it, and it was well deserved. I kept wondering if one was going to win. I remember it was up against like Lost in Translation that year. I was like a little worried because it's a Coppola daughter, but yeah, I love the Lord of the Rings, and I'm not even a huge Lord of the Rings. Like I read them back in the day, but I wouldn't say I was a book fan that I read them over and over and over. Like a friend of mine, he would just read them for fun over and over. But the films, I just loved. Becky, wife, she read the books. We watched the movies, loved them. So I think they're fantastic. I think they're extremely well made and highly rewatchable, even at the extended cuts.
Have you watched all of them as the
I have.
extended cuts?
In fact, my daughter hadn't seen them, and so we were super excited. I'm like, oh, let's watch them. And of course, I had to show the longer versions because I was just praying that a kid is going to lose interest. But by cracky, somehow to make it easier too, though, if they were 4 hours, we did them 2 hours each night so that she could not lose interest. And man, that was the right call because at the end of it, she just loved them. She loved the films, and I was so happy. That way, we didn't exhaust her in a 4-hour run. So 2 hours a night worked perfect. Yeah.
That's good. From a physical media standpoint, I just remember that you had to wait the extra time if you wanted those extended edition DVDs. So it was like you could go out and get them immediately as they come out on, the theatrical release. But I learned after the first one, if you just wait a few more months, that extended edition will come out and you could get that one instead. And those were such great. Talking about packaging, on those was excellent. I know people who still have them. They still revere them in their collection because it looked classy. It looked like old school hardbound books on your shelf too. So just great packaging.
And even with the Blu-ray releases, when they first came out, they had the nice little statues that you could buy the big box. But really great collectible type items.
Tony just reminded me my son never gave me back my Blu-ray collection. I'm gonna have to get that back from him.
Oh, that Blu-ray box is beautiful. Speaking of great packaging, the gold with the
gold and black,
and you slip them out. I don't know. There's something like super nice about that set.
Yeah,
like even better. Like this is okay, but this is not as good as that. That Blu-ray box is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, both the DVD and the extended edition DVDs and the Blu-ray packaging. They just
gave up on the 4K. Like, eh.
Yeah, same thing with The Hobbit. It's just slap them together and out the door.
So that's one of my how have you never seen this movies that people said. So I recently bought. Yeah, I found it really cheap, but I know it's just the theatrical versions, but I got the trilogy. I saw the first one for the first time just this year, and I have not seen the second two yet. So I'm one of those that
I'm with you, Corey.
Okay, you never seen any of them, or
I saw only the first.
Okay, that's where I'm at right now.
He lives with Lotar fans too.
I was going to say, jumping in right here, I know there's one right there, isn't it? Jess was saying, I've always wanted to try watching that way. I think just like all the way, like front to back.
She doesn't want me to watch the next two though, because I was kind of on the first one.
Yeah. That's why I think it's always good to see the theatrical run when it's first out. Which I know everybody can't do that, age-wise and different things. But I remember me and my oldest, he's my oldest son. He's my oldest son. But we would go every year. Like Huck said, every year the new one would come out. We look forward to doing that every year. Even with The Hobbit, we did the same thing with The Hobbit and enjoyed all of the films. But I think you have to do them back to back. If you just watch one and you don't watch the others for a while, then it's kind of lost.
There you go, Miko.
Look at that.
Yeah, all day affair. If you watch all three of them.
I think you also have to love fantasy too. Tim, I don't know if you're as big of a fan on that. Yeah. And so it's cool. Like if the first one wasn't your bag, I wouldn't even tell you to watch the other two if it's not your thing. But if you like the first one, I would absolutely say, then you've got to keep going.
Yeah.
So
because I'm sure Huck's daughter, she probably was looking forward to seeing the next one and the 100%. Next one. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you never know when you're trying to wean your kids on stuff like Star Trek. Still never happening. But although the cartoon,
Still trying.
yeah, I'm still trying. But the Lower Decks, she's into the cartoons. So I'm like, okay, that's one of them. But yeah, the fact that she loved those, I was like, cool.
So I'll say I did enjoy the first one quite a bit. I just haven't gotten to the second two yet. Just with Tony, like you were making the comment today, you know, our watch list is ever growing. And then, so sometimes it's like a 3-hour movie or 2 of my 1.5 hour movies,
Exactly.
you know, like to get off the shelf and I have them and I will watch them, but that's where some nights I'm starting a movie late enough where I can't do a 3-hour run. I got to, you know, get a good 90-minute movie in or something for the evening. But yeah, Mika was really jumping in there saying that she enjoyed those films and
Cool.
really immersive experience with the storytelling. Was it not doing it for you? Tiger Blue was saying that they, had exposed a neighbor to them as well. Those extended edition hard case DVDs will never leave my collection.
There you go, Johnny.
Mhm. They're so nice.
Really like the gold ring box set. Tiger Blues. I also prefer the Blu-rays to the 4Ks myself. The menus are a work of art, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's always funny how the DVDs have like cool
DVDs had the most the dopest menus compared to today.
Yeah.
I thought
like,
we were progressing.
I think Universal's like the laziest. It's kind of like Kino. It's just like a screenshot slapped up in a high-res format, and then you just choose menu, play, settings. You know, it's like.
You remember the Easter eggs on the DVDs?
Yeah.
Remember those?
Yeah. There's like, and some would have like little games in them, almost. And,
hidden menu option.
Yeah. No, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I thought we were progressing. We should keep these things going, you know?
Those budgets and those departments got smaller.
Yep.
Sometimes you're lucky. I was watching Reality Bites on Blu-ray, and there's not even a designated menu. It's a pop-up menu while the movie's playing.
Really? Yeah.
You hit the thing, and it comes up on the side, but it doesn't go to a dedicated menu. I'm like, wow.
A lot of the Fox Blu-rays are like that. Like all of the Mexi-Funk Sugar Skull ones are like that. Because I threw in Killer Clowns the other day, and the movie just started playing. I was like, huh? So,
like you think you have time, and all of a sudden it starts up.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm
still
still
getting
getting situated.
Bathroom, get some popcorn. The movie started.
Damn.
And some of the menus actually give plots to the movie away. I'm thinking, I don't even want to see what's going on in these videos. I just want to get the movie going.
Where's the play button? Absolutely. No, that's a great pick. That's a great one. Tim, what do you got for your next one?
It's me next?
Yeah. Or KB. Sorry. Oh, man. KB, we were talking about it so much. I was thinking, sorry, KB. Wow. Thank you, Tim, for keeping me in line.
I got thrown off there.
I was like,
well, we got talking so much. That was a great conversation one with Huck there on that one. I kind of forgot who threw it out after a while. So, sorry. KB. Yes, KB.
Okay. I'll be quick.
No, you don't have to be quick. I'm teasing. Just got thrown off.
I'm teasing. I'm going back to 1996. Actually, I'm going back to 1995. Super Bowl 30 for you sports fans. Dallas Cowboys won. Whatever. I think that was the last time they won anything of importance because they suck. But anyway, one of my favorite commercials was a teaser trailer where we saw the White House get blown up. I didn't know what that movie was, but I was ready to see it a year early. And that movie was Independence Day.
Hell yeah.
This became the highest grossing film in 1996. We were talking about Mission Impossible in passing earlier. It surpassed that one. It surpassed Twister, which everybody's excited for that 4K coming out. And I don't know how many times I saw this in a movie theater, but this made me fall in love with like summer blockbuster movies and having fun and going to see it over and over. I mean, by this time I was in my mid-20s and it was already like, you know, I could go to the movies whenever I wanted to, but it was fun to go to the movies. And, you know, I don't care what you think about Will Smith because I think everybody overreacted. Anyway, it was nice that he was in the midst of being the summer blockbuster guy with this. And then you had his other movies that followed after that. But it was a fun time, I think, to go to the movies, especially in the summer. And to me, this was like defining for the 90s, the summer blockbuster movie. So everybody I know wanted to go see it. And for a while, that was between that and the Twilight Zone marathon. That's what I would watch on 4th of July. Of course, I've erred in my ways and I went back to just watching Jaws. So, but, but yeah, Independence Day is so much fun. Forget about the sequels. Just that movie stands alone in my mind.
If you like, so for this stream, we were talking about summer blockbuster movies, not just blockbuster movies, but summer blockbuster movies. I bet you, I'm not saying everybody, I bet you a lot of people would have that one come up. I mean, that's what I think of a summer. I remember there was such a buildup for that movie. There was such a buildup for that movie coming out. It had been a while since one.
It was like from the year before it was, or this, whatever it was, whenever the Super Bowl was, February, and that came out in the summertime. So there was a buildup. And I mean, it was on magazine covers and all that. So it was just amazing. It was amazing how quickly it just, and it came out on July 4th to make it even better, and the ads were like, this July 4th, we take back our Independence Day and all that. So it really got you hype and ready for the movie. So by the time, July 3rd came around or whatever it was, you were ready. And that, talking about runtime, that's one movie that is longer than you remember it.
It really is.
It's over 2 hours. It's almost 2.5 hours. But when you watch it, if you really get into it, you don't feel that runtime.
Yeah, I didn't feel the runtime until I recently tried to watch it.
Yeah.
Originally, though, that runtime didn't feel like anything. But the last time I watched it at home, it felt it.
Were you like, is this an extended version from what I saw the first
time?
I
just didn't remember it being so long.
Yeah.
It was great. A great movie. I love it. But yeah, I just didn't remember it being that long. I rewatched it prior to Resurgence coming out. And that's when I felt the runtime.
Will Smith was funny in that one. I liked him in that.
Great,
yeah. And him and Jeff Goldblum made a good buddy combination. So
yeah, that was what I love too. Is earlier, if you guys remember the trailer when that came out, the mystery, like because when it started, it was just like people walking out, people looking up. And you're like, what are they looking at? And then just through the clouds, like a UFO was cracking through. The mystery, as a sci-fi fan, I was like, oh my God, an alien movie. And it just kept going and going until finally, like, then the mayhem broke out. But that trailer, that teaser was perfect. Like, I was all in. Yeah.
And I don't know about you, Huck, but when I was watching that during the Super Bowl, all I could think of was that TV show V. And happy birthday to Robert Englund. Totally. Today's his birthday. So, he played Willie on that show. But that's what I was thinking of. Like, okay, when does this go south? We got 30 seconds. When is this going to go south? And then next thing you know, you see the White House. And it wasn't like, all right, they gave away, like you were saying today, movies, they give away everything in the trailer. This wasn't even a trailer. This was a teaser. And you think, did they just give away the biggest point in the movie? The movie was still great and still fun to watch, even though probably the most impactful part of it was shown in the teaser trailer months before it even came out.
I don't know why I always think of the scene where Will Smith is dragging the dead alien through the desert or the salt flats and kicking it like, and what's that smell? Or whatever.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like that one at all, Tim? You get into it at all?
I do, but my next one, I'm going to talk about a Will Smith movie that I like even more.
Okay. Hold that for just a second. I'm gonna see if anybody was popping in on this one real quick. But No Peace.
No Peace.
Yep, the No Peace. Oh, that was always freaky too. I remember that where they'd wrap the tentacle around and would use a person as a puppet almost, like to talk to them. And I remember that.
Which, by the way, Brent Spiner, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
There you go. Yes. You're welcome. Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tiger Boo was saying I prefer Armageddon and Independence Day myself. Don't hate me. I don't hate you. I take them as different. Yeah. But not saying you're wrong on that. But I always think of like, I don't know, I have like the alien movies and the disaster movies kind of like separate in my head. But no, I can see that. Yeah. Man. Armageddon's fun too. There's such a fun cast in that one. Does Independence Day deserve a Criterion release?
I think it's too studio to be considered like under the Criterion umbrella.
Don't they have the old Armageddon on DVD for Criterion?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was in the day when they, anything
getting
to be a
started.
Criterion, that they thought they deemed important.
They didn't know better.
No, it's just, I think they have licenses now to much more. I don't want to say art house, but much more diverse movies than they did back in the DVD days. I mean, they have the 10 best I Love Lucy episodes on Criterion Laserdisc back in the day. And nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying that was the level of things that they got licensing for back then. Tarantino was big on them, so there's a lot of Tarantino Laserdisc back then. So I think now that they have more of a worldview of films,
sure,
it's a little harder to say like a blockbuster American studio film is worthy of a Criterion. That's just me.
Yeah. I had to read this one. That made me laugh. Getting pause. I think that's from your house there, right, Huck?
Yeah, that's
yeah. I saw Independence Day in the theater in Washington, D.C. while visiting one of my sisters. And when the White House exploded, everyone in the theater cheered. That'd probably be kind of a unique experience. Independence Day, fun one for sure. Yep. Let me run through some of these. If I skip anybody's, I apologize, but just kind of keep on going. Oh, we got Vin in here. Hard copy blues.
Hey, Ben.
What's up, Benny?
Aliens should have kept Will's wife's name out.
Nice.
Oh, you had to bring it up. No, I'm just kidding. Saying hi to Vin. All right, perfect. No, that's a great one. That's a great one. I definitely thought about that one. I was going to pull that, but I don't even. The only thing I have of that is VHS, and I could not find it. It's in one of my boxes, so I was like, I'll skip that for now. But
I'm thankful for the person who got me this copy.
No, that's cool. All right, Tim, I'm excited now to figure out what you got, because you said there was a little bit of a tie.
So if I told you there's a Will Smith one I like even more that I put at the top of his filmography, what would you think?
Men in Black.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly where my mind was going.
To have aliens. And
I freaking love Men in Black. I have fond memories. My grandfather taking me to see that actually at the dollar theaters when they used to have dollar theaters. But everything about that movie is so whimsical and fun and creative.
There you go. We're holding it up for you.
Yeah. The whole idea that there's a secret group of agents that are handling aliens that us normal people don't even know exist. It's so damn fun and creative. Like you got fun cameo roles, like Tony Shalhoub's character is great. And I'm gonna say for a blockbustery type movie, Vincent D'Onofrio's performance is freaking awesome as the bug, the cockroach guy. Yeah. His performance actually makes you feel like there's this cockroach alien inhabiting the skin. Like his performance is that damn good. The way he walks and moves with himself, it's like it doesn't even seem like that's his skin. Like it's someone in his body. It's so good. I love everything about that movie.
I remember it being so fun. Like it's a great. There's like the sci-fi but comedy, I
loved it.
With it. And
yeah,
I love part 1 and part 3 are both great. I don't know what happened with part 2. I didn't care much for it.
I actually really dig the trilogy as a whole. International doesn't exist, but but the trilogy, I really dig the trilogy.
I want to go back and watch that now. It's been a long time since.
Yeah, and I love how Tommy Lee Jones gives Will Smith like the smallest gun, and he's all like, the
cricket.
But it packs a punch. He's like, oh!
Doesn't it knock him down or something?
Yeah,
or pushes him back?
Yep.
No, that's a great one.
It's a fun movie. Super fun.
I didn't even think about that, but that was a perfect one. I wrote that down because I need to go back and watch that one. I remember, that's like a fun one. Like you could just sit down and have fun, and you don't have to be a big sci-fi person or anything, but it's got enough comedy and other things going on with it.
It has so much comedy. Early on when he's still learning the ropes and he goes to the alien that jumped town essentially, and he's at the window and it's the woman is giving birth and you see these tentacle things. It starts slaying him around. It's so
pulls him in the car.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And low-key, that movie has, I was talking with Nathan Jones about like movies from your hometown. That has a lot of New York City nostalgia with the different locations because, it's not your typical trope of Empire State, Statue of Liberty, blah blah blah. But there's things like Battery Park. If you're a New Yorker, you know where Battery Park is, or where the New York City Police Department headquarters is, which is basically above where Men in Black headquarters is, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see like landmarks. If you're a New Yorker, you know exactly where they are, and even that scene with the tentacles baby is like a landmark if you live there. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And Will Smith got to jump in on the soundtrack, and they played that song like crazy when that movie was coming out.
#1 song of the summer.
It's funny. I was a DJ at that time, and we played that all the time.
Same.
You're like, again?
Oh yeah, we had to do a dance to it and everything. I was like, wow. No, it was good. Like, because it was always a crowd favorite.
Oh yeah, people get excited. I was like, that got played all the time. I remember when that came out.
Yep.
Oh yeah, all I know is sugar, water,
More sugar.
water.
Sure.
I forgot about that. Oh, Jeff was gonna guess that your favorite was gonna be Wild Wild West.
I actually have a soft spot for that movie, but it's bad. But
It's so bad.
Yeah. Dagger Blue was saying Men in Black. I like that one more than Independence Day as well. One of Will Smith's best, and Tommy Lee Jones.
And we didn't even actually mention Tommy Lee Jones is great riffing off of Will Smith all movie.
Yeah. The Straight Man.
Yeah,
I do.
exactly.
I love that dry performance. It was good.
When he's like,
does a good job at that.
hit the red button, and he hits the red button.
Oh, I gotta watch that one again. Man, that's been a long time. Yeah, we got the sugar water again going. Vin was saying agree, Tim. Love Men in Black. I gotta go back and watch that. I don't think I have that in the collection.
You could get the trilogy on 4K for super cheap.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
I
Men in
love
Black
that steelbook though, KB, that you pulled out. That
Oh
thing
yeah,
is
that's a nice
so
one.
Yeah.
pretty.
I still have the Blu-ray, so that's why you notice it's still unopened, because I think the last time I watched it was before I got that 4K. But when I first saw it, I was like in Best Buy at the time, and it was like the day it dropped. And I went there to get, I think, that Scream 3 movie set with the special documentaries on it. And I saw that, I was like, I gotta get this.
Yeah.
At least the first one, I needed to have the first one on 4K. So it was like, before I can't find it anywhere, let me just grab the steelbook. So it was a good day. I had gift cards with me.
That's good.
Something else I love, actually, Mika's comment there was actually just triggered in my mind, though, that one of the things I love in the movie, as much as it's just silly, fun, lots of action, there's these subtle moments in it where, like, when he catches, he's Kay, right? Yeah, Kay is Tommy Lee Jones. Jay is, yeah. So when he catches Kay looking at the video footage from like the satellite of his wife, and you're finding like these are people that had to give up everything about their life, put everything behind to protect the world, that no one will ever know anything happened.
Yeah.
Like I love that whole concept.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones as a whole. I mean, Fugitive, so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And look, as a prop lover, who didn't want one of those memory wipers as a prop?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still trying to get one of those.
That was always the big thing, putting the sunglasses on and doing a little,
super subtle. Like sunglasses keep you from getting turned. Cool. We'll buy it. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people chiming in on that one. That's a great one. Absolutely. I don't know. He did it, but was fantastic. Maybe this was on that. Agreed. Vincent's character was awesome. His body movements just amazing. Vin was saying, love the scene with Will is auditioning for the job and with his unconventional ways,
and
dragging
shooting the
table.
little girl, because she had like
that's right.
She had like an advanced chemistry book. She is way too young for that book.
I forgot all about that. There's no way she'd be carrying a book like that.
Yeah, right.
I completely forgot about that. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, those books are way too advanced for that little girl. That's funny. Corey, I'm going to send you a link to the 4K set I got. Oh, yeah, do it, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I got it seriously, it's like a $25 set. It comes like a hard box with all three movies individually. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
The price of that steelbook, you could get all three.
That's icing on the cake when you can get something like that for a nice, decent price, and it's a nice looking set. And Then you buy some really expensive one that doesn't do anything with their set. You know, it's like, but no, cool. That's it. That's a great one. When what was Johnny saying? When Corey asked me if it's worth watch, no, yeah. I'm not strong enough for that one. I'll go with Men in Black all day long.
There you go.
Men in Black. That's more my speed probably. But all right, unless I'm messing up again, I think we got Tony now.
Yep. So my next one is Forrest Gump,
Oh yeah.
1994. I love this one. What I really loved about it was, of course, Forrest doing all of these things from history. Meeting the presidents, meeting Elvis, all of these things that are just outrageous. And the way that they shot this film with the making him feel like he's a part of that actual event was great. But I love Forrest Gump. That's another one that's a very long run time, but you don't feel it until you go to rewatch it.
I was going to say I haven't seen it in a long time.
I'm in for that that new Steelbook set that's coming out on July 2nd with the soundtrack in it, because everything that you just mentioned, Tony, you add in the soundtrack from that movie. It's one
Great
of the best
Yes.
needle drop soundtracks out there for sure. Great nostalgia.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
I was gonna
go
say,
ahead.
the special effects in that movie are so on point. You don't think about Forrest Gump as like this special effects movie.
Right.
But the way they inserted him into history all over is done seamless. You'd actually believe that Tom Hanks is there at all of these like pivotal moments.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Very believable.
And Dan's legs, the removal of his legs was just so like interesting. When you look at the behind the scenes, it's so easy. You just wear green socks and part of the ship is just missing and he just swings past it, but then they reinsert the ship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the wall.
Plus, I'm a big fan of Sally Field, and her portrayal as the mom in Mrs. Doubtfire was probably one of the best performances I've ever seen. But yeah, she was top notch in this one also.
I'm not gonna live the Mrs. Doubtfire thing down.
But I think that's funny, Tony. Like you said, like all the historic events that he kind of accidentally pushed one way or the other, like how it came out.
He influenced a lot of these things that happened in history.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because there was like anything from like Watergate to I don't know. I always think about when he was running and somebody was like, "What do I do? I got all these yellow shirts. I don't know what to do with them." And he
creates the smiley face.
He wipes his face off, and it has and he goes, "Have a nice day," or so. He says the quote as he runs off or something, and the guy's like. But it's just kind of funny, all those little iconic
definitely.
moments that like Forrest was a part of, basically.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Tiger Blue was saying that's my favorite, Tony.
Oh, wow.
It's a great story. That's one of those, I think, of an epic story. Like it travels a long ways through that story.
Is Jenny the villain of the movie?
Yes.
Depends who you ask. I'd probably lean that way. Holland, something bit me. Something jumped up and bit me in my buttocks. But that's maybe you could have a debate. Yeah, it's I'll stop. But
I've actually got the box of chocolate edition. That's a box of chocolates. You open it up.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty nice. Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look for your video on that. Do you have one on it?
It's in my room tour, my basement tour video, but
okay, I saw that one.
It's still sealed. I haven't opened it up.
Open it.
But you can see the back. You can see everything that's inside the box on the back of the packaging.
So you're good to leave it sealed. And you have the movie on another format or another release.
Yeah, it on 3 formats.
Several formats.
Every format.
So when you do that, you can see everything that's in the box, and you got a way to watch the movie.
Exactly.
So keep it sealed up. No, I can understand that. I can understand that. That's a cool set.
When you get a text that says you got movies from upstairs, you know it's a good day.
Oh, that's nice. You got some new ones in?
Apparently.
And that's all I got to say about that. How many quotes came from that movie? I mean, for a long time after that movie came out, too. So that's when you know it's like a big hit, too. When you hear people like a while after the movie's been out, like
quoting
saying
the movie.
Quotes from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Top-notch story. Magic legs for Lieutenant Dan. Yeah, Run Forrest Run.
Jenna.
Gump is a movie that truly is ingrained in American pop culture. Can't tell you how many times I've been out on a jog and hear you kids running, "Run, Forrest, run." Absolutely. Johnny was saying, I do commend Zemeckis for leaving that scene of Forrest and the dogs on the cutting room floor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I'm missing that one. That's all right. We'll skip that one. I'll Google it later. Forrest Gump is one of our favorite films, remains in Kira in my top 5 favorite films of all times. There's a lot of like heartbreak and sadness in it, but
it's got everything in it.
But uplifting and I don't know, emotional moments in it too, and takes you on a roller coaster for sure.
It does.
Son, your mom really cares about your education. Oh gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Larry, yep. Stuff happens when he steps in it, when they're like running. Yep. Just a great movie. Love the cast. Robin, Sally, Tom, and Gary, just stellar. I mean, he invested his money in some fruit company. Yeah, the Apple computer. Things worked out, I guess. But,
well, if a bunch of rocks are inside that box, yeah, that would be disappointing.
Yep.
But you'll never know.
No.
But then he won't be disappointed.
That's right.
All through the 90s, people quoted Gore. Yep. And like Vin was saying, too, you still hear it come up from time to time. Brian and Coco love quoting seats taken. Yep. She tastes like cigarettes, Lieutenant Dan. Yeah. Double feature podcast, Mika Kira. You have good taste. When he meets his son, is he smart or is he and breaks down? Yeah, it's a tough scene. There's a lot of tough scenes in that. Yep. Thanks, Tiger Blue. Like Tony said, we love a variety of film genres. There are some great movies out there. Absolutely. Yes. Yep, absolutely. So no, another great one. I'll keep it rolling here.
What you got, Court?
I'm gonna go with. It's gone by a couple names in its life cycle, but it's either Live, Die, Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, that's a great one.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, and whether I'm gonna call it Blockbuster. I don't know.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay. There's some of these I was like grabbing, and I'm like, I don't know if some people would be like, but I was just thinking the sci-fi aspect, the big names, the budget when it came out, but I really enjoy this movie, and I don't think it did really great when it came.
Yeah, the marketing for that film wasn't the best. Nobody really knew what it was going to be about.
Yep. And I think that was part of the reason of the name change too, where they were trying to work it a little bit. But I think it kind of picked up after the theater and has taken on another life. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I always am a sucker. I grew up, especially as a kid, I loved sci-fi movies. So I got a spot. I love all kinds of movies, but I got a spot for sci-fi movies. This one, just having that whole sci-fi hardcore version of Groundhog's Day, kind of, where, and I don't know if I loved playing video games as a kid too, and I don't know if I kind of had that mentality like, oh, I lost that level, I got to repeat the level, and try something different to get past it. And but I thought Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt did great. I liked them both in that quite a bit. I love the story, and I don't know. I love the whole premise of it, but I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
It's great.
Yeah,
you can say like, no, Corey, no.
What are you thinking?
Yeah.
I like Tom Cruise doesn't play like he's a flawed man, and he's not like this big heroic guy. Like he learns his heroics more as the movie is going.
Yeah.
It's a great character.
Yeah, go ahead, Huck, go.
I was just saying those type of movies are very tricky. Things like that and Groundhog Day. If you don't craft that to perfection, you're over it before it even starts. But I think when he dies and comes back, live, die, repeat. It's really the tagline became the thing. The book title is All You Need Is Kill. Yeah. So like that has a little bit more impact. Wonder why they didn't keep. Maybe it sounded too non-Tom Cruisey, but yeah, I thought the whole premise of learning as you die and then the next day you do it again was so perfectly in that film.
Yep.
Yeah, and you don't really get those kind of films often. They did Happy Death Day to me.
Yeah,
Happy
right.
Death
Yeah.
Day. Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
And they did that very well also. I love those kind of movies that kind of take off of other, like Groundhog Day and Happy Death Day, but in a different way. You have horror, you have sci-fi, you have comedy. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's one that I liked from the first time I saw it, and then I remember when it came out on Blu-ray, and people were like, "Oh, let's like turn up our system or whatever." And the beginning of that movie, they adjusted it for the 4K now, but the Blu-ray was blowing out people's subwoofers.
Oh no!
The bass was so low; it was like 5 or 8, like watts or whatever, and most people had things that went down to just like 15 or 20. So it was like before the movie starts, you just hear, and it's
your subwoofer going.
Oh, no.
So it was almost like my sub could hold up to it.
I do want to throw out though for people that like these time reset type movies though, Palm Springs is a great one as well.
Oh, that was cute.
Palm Springs.
Never seen that.
I haven't either. I'm gonna write that down.
It's Andy Samberg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was surprisingly cute. Entertaining. Yeah. Also not on physical media, right?
It is. I own a copy. It got released in another country.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Palm Springs.
Oh, but what do you mean though? We don't have a release here for it?
No, but there is a Blu-ray. I imported it. It was like Germany, I think, but it's a Hulu movie.
Okay.
So I did the same thing. So that's kind of funny. Hulu movie and also kind of a time repeat one as well that I kind of had fun with. It's not on the same level. I'm not saying it's as good as this one, but Boss Level with Frank Grillo.
I heard of that. I didn't see it yet.
Naomi Watts.
There you go with that Frank Grillo.
I know. I got to throw his name out there again, but I think Naomi Watts is in that too. And oh gosh, Mel Gibson. Man, I was totally blanking on his name. Was in it, but kind of the same type of deal. And I had to import it from somewhere, not here. But no, anyway, I always had fun with this because, like you said, you don't always see Tom Cruise start off. He's like a weasel at the beginning of it, trying to figure out any way he can get out of doing any hard work of the whole thing, and then gets into it. But then I don't know, like you said, there's almost like a comedy or dark comedy where he's going through some of these things and he's just like, oh man, like I died again, and that keeps going. And I always kind of had. Maybe that's dark comedy too, where there's so many times where Emily Blunt was just like, let's just start over. He's like, no, I'm still good. I think I can still move, and she's just like, no.
And those kind of movies, if they're not done right, could get very repetitive and tiring to watch. And so, so you have to do it just right.
Yeah. But I had fun with that one. So,
yeah.
All right.
Very good.
I always like her. I like her, or at least I haven't seen all of her movies, but the ones I have seen, it seems like I usually enjoy the things she's in. But all right, we've been through 3 rounds, and this is where we can kind of say we're still doing good with time. You want to wrap it up, or
I can do one more?
You want to do one? Is everybody up for
one more inning?
One more round, and we can call her a night.
That sounds good.
Okay, we can do that.
My girls are already having dinner, so I've missed that.
Okay, sorry.
I missed the window.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Should have just brought it in. You could have just been like
snarfing down.
Like, don't mind. Pick ready, Tim.
Don't mind me.
I know what I'm picking this time. I was waiting till I knew it was last round.
Okay. So we'll do last round here. We'll wrap it up. I appreciate you all hanging in here. I really do. So all right, we'll jump in. Huck, what do you got?
Oh my goodness, I only have one to pick.
It doesn't have to be all-time favorites. Just something you want to talk about.
You know what? Okay. I'm just going to go completely like a different, not 100% different, but it is a little sci-fi. But we're going to dial down all the bang pop stuff. We're going to go into the greatest home invasion movie of all time.
E.T.
I was waiting for that.
I'll never live that down, so I'm going to own it. But Yeah, right, Tony. I mean,
Yep.
and this. Oh my God, this movie holds up. I'm so glad Spielberg. Like, I know what he tried to do, removing the guns and putting walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
He's like, what? Stop. There's no threat if they have walkie-talkies. So, and again, I got to show this to my daughter, and it's like, I wonder if it holds up. See, that's the thing about watching these again with your kids or whatever is, do they hold up? Do they have that something? And it still did, man. Like, I was super emotional. I was like missing ET when oh my God, little Drew Barrymore, my God, she's just losing it with ET when he's dying and stuff. So good, so beautiful. And the fact that the entire film is sort of shot from kids level, that is brilliant on Spielberg's part. It's all sort of down here when the mom comes in, it's sort of from her perspective. And I want to say it's not even until the invasion happens that the camera changes. I think that's when it changes. So, then they go out on Halloween. You get the little early bird of Yoda there.
Yeah.
I mean, comedy like that. This movie is just wonderful. And I remember it for families, it was a great thing for all the families to go see because everyone could love it. And may I say, kudos to Reese's Pieces because M&M was too hoity-toity, and I happen to love Reese's Pieces.
I do too.
Me too.
You know how many they sold because of that movie? Probably.
Dude, M&M's like.
I remember going.
What M&M's?
I remember wanting to go to the store and buy them after the movie. After we saw it in the theater.
We all did.
Yeah. So Reese's Pieces. Thank you for. I never even heard of those until this movie, and now I love them. So.
That and those speaking spells, or what was it called? That little computer, computer thing. Wasn't it called like Speak and Spell or something?
Yeah,
he was like, you type it out, but it was like those toys. That was like a toy you could buy. Anyway, I remember those things started flying off the shelf, and then Reese's Pieces. I know it wasn't food, but like I just remember that E.T. spelling out things, to talk.
And then kids buying the guns and stuff. That was really fun.
Oh, so good. Nobody bought the walkie-talkies in the redo.
Right, but they really liked getting the guns.
Don't forget, E.T. crashed the video game market.
Oh
that's right. That's a fun documentary if you ever see that.
It is good. That's a great one. It's very good.
Finding that in the landfill.
But how about y'all? Does E.T. hold up for you guys?
Oh yeah.
And it's almost like when information like how they basically made Drew believe that E.T. was really dying, and you get that raw emotion from a little child's perspective of their new friend leaving. Oh my gosh. Little Gertie is everything in that movie.
Isn't she wonderful?
Yes.
And Steven even said when she's still on set, have the puppeteer still working E.T. and they're still like father-daughter relationship today because of that time on the set.
And she still has that emotion to her. Just watching her as an adult, she gets teary-eyed and stuff. But I loved Gertie, and I loved when she first saw E.T. just
scream bloody murder.
Exactly.
I don't know why I always think about, was it when E.T. was like hiding in the closet? But then they got all dressed up with the hair and the hat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the mom never could see.
Yeah.
That was the best. It's almost like
I was pretty young when I saw it in the theater though, and I do remember getting scared at the end.
It would be
when the agents came in and
anything that happened to E.T. would happen to Elliot. And him getting drunk and all these things. And then it's pretty scary. I mean, Elliot getting so sick, when E.T. was, no spoilers, I'm sure everybody's seen E.T. But, it had some scary moments.
Another great soundtrack, too.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to go and revisit that. But that's one I need to rewatch. I bought the Steelbook when it came out not too long ago at Target. And the orange, and I haven't rewatched it yet, but I need to throw that back in and watch it again.
Still good. You'll love it.
Oh, that's another great choice. Here, I won't take too long, but I'll run through here. But going back to some of mine, some people were jumping in, agreeing with Edge of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Saying great choice. Yeah, is not the nicest guy. Yep. Larry, Edge of Tomorrow is very rewatchable. Want to watch it now. I was gonna say I enjoyed it. Sorry, I'll run through these real quick. This is one I haven't seen. I've heard good things. Y'all know I struggle with Tom Cruise. LOL. It's a little different role for him. I don't know. Maybe not. But Edge of Tomorrow is on the list of films I want to show my son.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Well worth watching. The extras on the Blu-ray as well. Director says some great things about Tom's professionalism. I love watching Edge of Tomorrow in 3D. Such a great flick. And that bass, yes. Yeah, you're our 3D guru there, Jeff. And how helped me with cast members. I can't talk tonight. And how he helped the other cast members in training. Yeah, cool. Run through these real quick. Oh, we got Mika saying, love Drew Barrymore in E.T. Gertie was our favorite character in the film.
Hey, some ET.
Easily.
Yep. E.T. has some raunchy language early on that wouldn't fly for PG these days.
Right.
You know what's funny?
Go ahead, Tim.
Oh, no, go. I read it first.
All I was going to say is 80s PG is different than today's PG.
Very much so. Very much so.
And we're so thankful.
I was going to say, we're in our final round, and I already know what I'm picking, but there's like one movie that I'm actually shocked has not come up yet, and I wonder if you three other ones that are going to go are going to pick it.
Well, if we run through and we don't pick it, you got to say what it is. Now I'm curious.
It's a pretty major one, and I'm kind of shocked none of us said it yet.
Well, maybe some of us have it standing in a pile, but we're trying to pick which ones we're going to show.
Right. Yeah.
Are you referring to the one that you and Mr. Tony share the same shirt of?
No, because I don't have a shirt for this one, so no.
Oh, okay.
But now my mind is thinking of that as well. I know what you're talking about. Damn, there's some huge ones we didn't even touch on.
Right.
I don't think anybody's picking Avatar.
No.
I don't have it stacked here. Okay, I got to find out before we leave. You can't remember. You can't forget. You got to say which one if it's not picked, or to let us know if we pick the one you're talking about. But all right, we'll see. Maybe KB will pull it.
Maybe KB's got it. What you got?
What do you got, KB?
Come on, buddy.
It's not that. Just looking at like box office, highest grossing, whatever. It's very easy to pick like your Avatar or your any of the high James Cameron. I mean, I have Titanic here, but the one I'm going to go with is not going to be an MCU movie. I'm going to go with a recent comic book movie that I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed a slipcover because we have to go somewhere special to get in. That's Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm surprised that, even to this day, this is what highest grossing. It's number 7 all time. That's after your James Cameron Avatars, Titanic. That's after your Endgame. That's pretty high for a comic book movie, non-Disney Marvel. That brought in a lot of residuals for Sony. And the great thing is, it's a good movie. Mm-hmm. It's a really good movie on top of that. So I remember going to see it. I remember having fun at the theater with it. So once again, recent nostalgia, but a good time at the movies. And especially, we keep talking today about how cinema going is on a downfall and everything like that. It's hard to remember recent times where it was like, this is great. I want to come back and see it again. But that's definitely one I remember seeing at least 2-3 times in the theater as far as a comic book movie. I mean, the Marvel stuff, sure, but outside of that, and this might still be considered Marvel to some people, but it's a Sony movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed No Way Home. So yeah, that's a big blockbuster for me, and not one that was released like in your summer time zone. I think that was released close to Christmas time, I want to say. I remember it being cold when I went to see it. Yeah, December 13th, December 17th. So not your typical summer blockbuster.
Yeah, that was one that I saw where I live. The theaters are not packed; they're very light. Usually, I'm like the only one in there sometimes, but this time with that viewing, the movie theater was packed.
Wow.
So to me, I think that you can have a really good experience when there's a large crowd at a film like this. Because they're all focused on the film. They're not on their phones or doing all these other things. So, yeah, I remember that being a really good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I lost something by not seeing it in theaters. Granted, like the trilogy isn't really, I don't care that much on it. So that's why I didn't go see No Way Home. but I watched it for the first time on disc, and after hearing everyone just gush over it, it didn't hit me. I don't know if it was because I didn't have the crowd reaction or anything, but I finished it kind of like it's
I think so, Tim, because that's how I feel about like going back to the Cameron movies. I will not buy an Avatar movie to watch at home. Besides the runtime, there's no way to recreate that feeling, even if you just saw it in a regular theater. Besides, the high frame rate and the 3D and all this stuff, there's no way to recreate that theatrical experience with a movie like that. And you see that with a lot of horror movies too. The experience you have in the theaters with the horror movie on opening weekend is not felt when you get it at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
I couldn't replicate. I couldn't replicate A Quiet Place, like that opening weekend of Quiet Place in theaters. That can't be redone at home. It's crazy.
No, I got both of them, and I really cannot watch them because it's not the same experience. Not giving anything away, but with the first Quiet Place movie, I remember everyone in the theater not making a sound, not eating popcorn, not moving around until the waterfall. And then everyone felt like a relief, like a shared relief. And then people got up and you heard them rustling in their popcorn and everything. So it was like we have this shared experience going on, and it cannot be replicated at home. At home, it's just you, or it's just you and your family or your friends or whatever the case is. It's not going to be the same experience.
Yeah.
And I missed out on that one.
What I'll say in sort of flip side to that, KB, is I missed it in the theater.
Yep.
So for me, seeing it at home, I definitely can. When I watched it, I was like, oh man, I wish I'd have seen and had that communal experience. But because I didn't, I did get to enjoy it at home because that's how I saw it. And I was equally as probably invested as I would be in the cinema because I was right there. And I wasn't at the same time. I also wasn't missing that experience. But Tim, like to your point, our theater was packed for the Spider-Man movie, and when they came out, it was absolutely. My daughter doesn't even know those first two movies. She didn't even know those. And of course, I'm like, what is your problem? Why is everyone yelling? I'm like, I'll tell you after the movie.
Well, that's what Jeff was saying here. He goes, I literally had people standing up and clapping during the way home.
Totally. Yeah, same.
Yeah, even we getting the different villains and stuff from the films was exciting.
Yeah.
Because they already spoiled enough to where you knew some of these characters, which was a disappointment. I hate the days. I miss the days where you weren't spoiled before you go see a movie. So now you think you have to be there opening day to see these films, or you're going to hear all about it on the internet.
That doesn't
feel a very enjoyable experience.
You could go opening day and it still doesn't help because movies open up all around the world at different times.
Yeah.
I had one of the first showings of Force Awakens that you could get here, and I still had, a major pivotal point spoiled to me on Twitter because it opened in another country. And the person
people can't wait to spoil things.
Yeah,
that's going to happen with Deadpool and Wolverine. It's going to premiere another company.
Oh, people's already spoiled before here, on that.
Yeah, watch out if you don't want to have something spoil.
Well, and there's people getting early screeners and things, and that's one I hate. That's right. I think the trailers give away way too much, but then on top of that, when you're trying to avoid that, sometimes you can avoid trailers, okay, but then you just come across some random comment or title of a YouTube video or like a Twitter post, and you're just like, I didn't want to see that before the movie, and
and people will try to act like it's your fault. Like, what are you supposed to shut yourself out of the entire internet?
I do. I don't use my phone. I don't do any of that stuff. Yep. That's why I enjoyed Infinity War so much. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Infinity War.
So did I.
Yeah, absolutely.
My jaw just dropped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the art of cinema, that's what's great about it. You can't help but feel something when you're watching some of those. Absolutely. All right, Tim, what do you got, man?
What do you think I'm going to go with?
I know I know one big one that you haven't said yet, but that doesn't mean you're going to go with it. I don't know.
I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
But I can't not say Jurassic Park. I just figured I'd wait until the final round. Everyone just pull a Jurassic Park.
It's for you, Tim.
I was hoping so we can talk about this great movie.
This movie is just cinematic magic. This came out in 93. I was born in 87. So I was the perfect age for childhood wonder of dinosaurs on screen. This movie is just, it hits so many notes for me. It's literally perfection. And I can watch it multiple times a year to the point April is sick of me recommending to watch this damn movie. I love all of the characters. I love the character arcs. I think this is significantly better than the book, which is not something that happens very often. The score, we talked about Raiders before. I put this is my personal favorite score. I'm biased, but I freaking love the theme for Jurassic Park. Just this movie is just magic. And the special effects were groundbreaking, and they still hold up way better than most modern CGI.
Yeah,
still looks good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're saying you were younger and had the, you loved it because of the dinosaurs, but I think I think I might have been a senior in high school at the time. And I remember going to see it in the theater, and we went back a couple times to see it because we got into it so much. But there's so many scenes. Like, how can you not think about like the cup of water on the dashboard, the whole boom,
iconic.
Which that's just a guy underneath with the guitar string, like pulling it back. And it's they found some really simple things to pull off some awesome shots, and they work great. And then some of the other stuff was hard as hell to shoot, like the T-Rex.
Yeah, the rain.
Yeah, the rain keep getting soaked, but it's one of those things, kind of like Jaws, where they had to cut things back a little bit less of the T-Rex isn't in the movie that much.
Yep.
He's a couple of minutes of the movie, or she is a couple of minutes of the movie, really, as a grand total. And that's all you need.
Yep, that's all you need.
Well,
yeah, less is more sometimes.
Oh yeah, that scene in the rain, and what a beautiful marriage of the practical head and the CGI. They look identical. Like you're not pulled out when they're switching.
Yep.
Man,
all of the this was the first dinosaur movie, where the dinosaurs looked real. It was amazing, and it came out in, I think, 91. I think the movie came out in 91, right?
93.
It came out in 93.
Yep.
Okay. Because I remember my youngest son at the time. I always say my youngest, my oldest, whatever. But taking him to the movie, he didn't get to see this because he was just born in 92. But when he got old enough to go see that, they did a re-release of the film in the theater, and his eyes and just everything about the film, how much he just loved that. And like you said, with movie tie-ins and different things, they had, when the VHS came out, it was a McDonald's VHS. You could buy the VHS tape and Happy Meal toys and just anything you could think of. It was a blockbuster movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was going to say something?
Oh, no, I was just saying, see, old people loved it too, Tim. See, it doesn't matter. we all had the same reaction.
It works for all ages, but like little kids with dinosaurs, especially, though.
Yeah.
But so I see your wife mentions that she also thinks the movie is better than the book. Yeah. I always hear that the book is better from people. And I swear, I don't know if it was just my bias going in loving the movie, but the book does all of the characters worse. All of them.
And it's actually more violent in the book than what they show in the movie. And I like the way they combine the characters. I was like just going through Crichton books at that time, I would say from 92 going into 93. So by the time the movie got announced and it came out, I'd read that. I'd read Spear. I'd read all these different Crichton books. So I was ready for it. And, usually, like you just said, people always say the book is better or something like that. But just those minute changes were enough to say, oh, this makes it so much better, because it's almost like the book would have been too much to put on screen, and then really have the attention given to the dinosaurs, which I think was more important. So I think Spielberg just, being a master at capturing magic, just went in that direction instead.
So could you in the book, and this isn't a spoiler at all, but like Hammond is a money hungry sleazeball of a person, and Hammond in the movie is a lovable old man that just happened to underestimate the situation. He had no ill intent. I can't fathom the book version of Hammond being in the movie and the movie working anywhere near as well. Hammond is like this. He's one of my favorite characters in the movie. Like his character is so important to the whole story, and I can't fathom the book version of him being in the movie.
And I agree. And like that fear that he has then too, because his grandkids are out on the.
Oh, that plays such a key moment too.
Yeah, I couldn't see that if he didn't, because if he was like what you're talking about with the book, well, who knows if the grandkid in the book were the grandkids there? I guess I don't even know.
Yeah, the grandkids were there. They just flip flopped the boy and the girl essentially. Like Lex was the younger child, and Tim was the older one. Lex was super annoying. The movie also did a way better job with the kids. Literally, the movie did better in everything.
Yeah, they took the best of what they could do. Spielberg knew what he was doing when he wanted a family movie, I guess.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
Yeah,
With
he
kids.
took a very violent book and made a wonderful family movie out of it. That still has horror moments, but not
just like with E.T.
Yeah.
E.T. had some horrific moments to it. But
yeah, enough to give you a scare, but not traumatize you forever, maybe. But no, that's a great one. I figured when I didn't know for sure if you were going to be able to make it tonight, I had that on standby because I was like, we cannot have this and not talk about it. And I figured that'd be one that you'd throw out there. But that's a great one.
I want to rewatch it like now, and I know every time I talk about it, like April rolls her eyes, and sometimes I just override her and just put it on anyways.
And then she'll be like, I'm going to go to bed and read a book.
Yeah, go to another room. Just go to another room.
When we set up a VCR in our bedroom again with the old CRT TV. Yeah. And I wanted to test a VHS just to make sure that this VCR still worked. So, of course, I tested it out with Jurassic Park. I'm like, I'm just going to watch a few minutes, make sure everything is good. I sat on the floor and watched like the entirety of Jurassic Park on VHS just because.
That's great.
I love that. All right, we're just gonna hit. I know this is what do we got here. Oops. Jeff was saying I might watch Jurassic Park in 3D this evening. There you go. You got somebody talked into it, Tim.
There it is.
This is going a little different. We don't have to go too long because I know we want to start wrapping it up. But Prince was saying, question for Huckster: in what year did you discover the great Jackie Chan? And Thrifty Timmy, how does it feel to be back to thrifting again? KB, as I said, future Hall of Famer. All right, so we got a couple questions if you want to hit it real quick.
So real quick, so Jackie Chan I discovered in the 80s with VHS because I was a Kung Fu fan. I just heard about through my other Kung Fu friends about Jackie Chan. And then in the 90s, early 90s, when Rumble in the Bronx, which was his first film to come to really America, I saw that at the Man's Chinese Theater. Packed with Jackie Chan fans, and I've just been locked in ever since.
And for mine, I loved out and about shopping stuff. That's some of my favorite content to make. So I'm thrilled to be back at it. Hopefully, we hit up possibly the flea market this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Not sure.
Yeah, you got the perfect camera for it too.
That's right. I'm jealous of that thing. Say night to Jess if you haven't taken off already. But
right here, this wonderful camera.
That thing is awesome. That was cool seeing it. I couldn't believe it looks small, but man, when I saw it in person, that is like the perfect, like sometimes you can't even tell you're filming something when you were walking around some of the stores. And I'm like, that's the way to do it. Like it doesn't stand out real, badly, like not a huge camera or something like that. I mean, if you have a good enough pocket, you can throw that in your side pocket or something. But,
I mean, it's really it's called the Osmo Pocket. Like I have the extender thing on this right now, but then you take it off and like, that's not big at all. Like compared to my cell phone.
Oh yeah.
It's small.
And it's got great
detail,
quality.
Great quality and detail. Even if you have a loose hair on you, it'll capture that.
Nice. Great.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right, moving on. Tony, what do you got? Tony, what do you got?
Okay, so I guess my last one. I've got so many here beside me.
I know it's hard to.
What's gonna be good, but let's just go ahead and just talk about Jaws.
Yep.
This is another one from my day that still holds up today. But I love Jaws. It's what me when you think of summer blockbuster. That's what I think of first is Jaws. But it's a terrifying movie. The Jaws. My favorite part of the whole film is the attack on the boat scene. Was amazing. I remember as a kid seeing this man get chomped up by the shark on the boat was terrifying.
Yep.
And that's what still sticks in my mind. But yeah, it's just to me, that's what I think of when I think of a blockbuster film.
Hey, Tony, this has nothing to do with what you just said, but did you take down your Film Vault poster? Because I still say that is the best poster for Jaws.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Nostalgia for the original, blah, blah, blah. That one that comes with Film Vault. Now they're doing the steel books. I want them to do the one for Jaws, just so you could get the original poster in there, because
they're amazing.
Perfect. The orange and black one.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I did. I took them down. I'm really bad about taking people's feedback. People got upset.
I like those posters.
I know. I'm just, I try to accommodate so many people that it's hard to,
What, they didn't like different posters?
You can never change, ever.
I have something that I realized, Tony. It's your collection,
right? Can't please everybody.
I'll say
please yourself.
I say I like the posters you have now, but I remember noticing one of your videos when you first had them up, and I remember commenting, and I was like, but those are cool. I'd seen them. That was great artwork for each of the films.
I appreciate Tim letting me in on the secret about those posters, being able to get those. And I'm sure if I had a big old binder thing that I could put all my posters in, that would be wonderful too. But I have no place to put those big binders.
What's crazy
they have stand-up ones too.
Oh, do they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's crazy is I told this to Tony, but like the price those posters aren't free. You pay more on top of the Film Vault to get those posters as well. But almost all of them at this point, you could sell the poster alone and have made back everything you spent and get the Film Vault for free if you wanted. But like nobody knows that you could buy these things on this website. So no one I never see anyone else get them. Like you could
me.
You could
then I can't even display them, right?
I think they're great artwork on those.
All of them are great.
All of them.
I think
I
the
love
Jaws
2001
one
as well.
Yeah.
I think the Jaws one right now sells for like 150, 200.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you, me, Huck. That's basically childhood right there. Whether you were 5, 6, 7 years old at the time, and really that is the beginning of the summer blockbuster. That is why movie studios switched their popcorn movies to everything between Memorial Day and Labor Day, or they moved it up to like August over the years. But before that, it was more of a focus on, well, let's bring it out for Oscar season. And that helped because that's how you got movies like The Exorcist to get Academy consideration. But after that, Shark came out, and it was the summer of Jaws, and it was everywhere, and T-shirts, posters, everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
So, and after that was Star Wars, and it just continued from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have to say, could you imagine if the shark worked like it was originally supposed to, what the movie would have ended up like?
I think I kind of like the idea, though, that you didn't really get to see much of the shark up until toward the end. You just had the suspense of knowing that it was there and people just getting pulled down in the water and different things. But I like the obscurity of it, not knowing what the shark looked like.
Because wasn't that the whole story? The mechanical shark didn't work like they originally thought it was going to, and they
pretty bad for them.
Always breaking down.
Yeah.
But it ended up probably being the best thing that could have happened for him. I mean, who knows what? But I just think we were kind of talking about that with Jurassic Park too, like the T-Rex, not seeing it. Like sometimes what you don't see can scare you more than just throwing it right out in your face. You know, and your imagination starts going.
And when you think of it too, it's more how we would have seen the shark, which is not at all like the fact that we, as the film goer, we don't see it. Neither do the people who are being sucked under and killed.
Right.
So you have almost the same sort of
reaction
mystery as the watcher.
Without the pain, without the pain,
without the missing limbs and the death.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, in fact, I'm so happy that movies got re-released because I didn't see that one initially. I was way too young. So this would have been after Grease and stuff like that. But they did re-release it in the theater in the early 80s. And that's when I saw it because I knew that this was like one of the biggest films. And I was like, okay, I see what the big deal is.
Yeah, I didn't actually see it upon its initial release either until we watched it in middle school during the summer. So they replayed it at the middle school, and you could go watch it there. And that's where I saw it at.
I think the first time I saw it was in a drive-in theater. We had one where it was nights where you'd meet up with cousins and uncles and aunts, and it was like you paid by the carload, and so we'd all meet up at one person's house, and then kids would jump in the back of the truck, you know, and there would be like 2 trucks with a bunch of lawn chairs, and you go in, and it always progressed through the night. They'd have 3 movies, and it would be like start with a kid movie, and then maybe go to like a PG whatever, and then the last one for the night was R. Sometimes we left before that, and sometimes us kids would try to pretend we were asleep, and the parents would stick around for that one, and that was one of those that I think we were trying to pretend we were sleeping, and then got to watch a little bit of Jaws on drive-in theater. But
Huck, you mentioned earlier when they had the movie day, I think it was on Labor Day, and it was the same time they had the re-release of that, and even that pulled numbers. You know, it wasn't like Maverick, but it pulled numbers because that was like the one day that it was out, or the one weekend, or whatever it was. And you know, you have at this point generations who's never seen it on the big screen, and people who still haven't seen it. So that gave them an exciting opportunity to go back to the theater, see it on the big screen, whether it was a original 16 millimeter print or not. It was still an opportunity to see it the way it was intended to be seen, in my opinion.
Very good.
I like it when they do those re-releases, though. I got to see Casper on the big screen again. I got to see E.T. on the big screen again. But I think that I wish that more people would go out and take advantage of those re-releases on the big screen.
We have some fun ones around us too, but they only do it's like 2 days and just one showing per day for that month, and they'll do some of the older ones. So like I went out and saw They Live on the big screen, Casablanca. Those were some of the recent ones.
We went and saw The Color Purple. They re-released The Color Purple.
The original.
My brother went and saw that. Yep.
So it's fun to be able to go back and do that. And they got. I was just looking forward to what they have going for the rest of the year, and I'm like, I want to try to get those, but it's kind of hard when it's like just 2 different days and one showing per day for that month of that movie, and it's just.
I recently missed Alien with that.
Yes, I missed it too. They had that one as well, but nope, for sure. They've always have a bunch of fun horror ones leading up to October, or Halloween time. So I want to try to get out for some of those. But there's a bunch of good ones on the docket. North by Northwest was coming up.
With the restoration.
They're advertising that for AMC.
Yep,
I'd love to see that.
So that's one that I want to try to get out and see in the theater. I think that'd be a great one. So
can't wait for that 4K.
Yep, there you go. That's a great set. That great looking set that they got coming out. All right, I'll be quick. I know I'm keeping you all along, and I appreciate you hanging in there. So I'm gonna go quick. But I got this one. Like I said, I'm a sucker grew up with sci-fi. I was always into like having a telescope and like looking up at the stars and the moon and everything. So even though I was a lot older when this came out, it still sucked me in because I was like, anyway, Apollo 13.
Nice,
good choice.
Good one.
I really love this movie. It's a great cast, great story, and I thought they did a lot. I know it's not like a I don't know, for part of the movie, kind of a one location movie, you know, like they're on the, anyway, I don't know. I thought they did a really good job with it. How they built suspense and like the drama, throughout the story with it. And, I'm a sucker for these type of historical stories as well, especially when it's involving space and NASA, and I got into it. So, yeah, anyway, really love that one.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
What movie, Tim?
Oh yeah, we never talked Terminator 2.
I had that.
I had it back here.
It was right there. It was between this or E.T. That was the two I was looking at. But
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, Terminator 2 is like one of the biggest blockbusters ever.
yeah.
Well, and that too. Ghostbusters.
I was just about to say, somebody pull Ghostbusters with
That's a
Johnny.
great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody else already like.
We already talked about Speed.
Yeah,
And
I-
one other
I had
one,
Titanic there too.
yeah.
Spider-Man. The first.
The
Spider-Man.
first Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I had Spider-Man 2 in my mind, and yeah.
Yeah, the better
Yeah,
movie, but
either
not
one
the
of these
bigger
two.
one.
Batman. That was close to
89
pulling
Batman. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's
Great
another
memories of that one.
blockbuster, man. That
could
was
do all
everything that summer.
Corey.
Keep on going. But I know you guys can't. I know you guys are. Well, not Huck, but the rest of you are an hour even further
Huck
ahead of
hasn't
us.
eaten because of it.
Huck hasn't eaten yet. I haven't had a lot if it makes you feel better, but I'm sorry I kept you. I appreciate. I know this has been a long time, but I appreciate you all hanging out with us. Everybody that was in the chat, you were doing great. We had a lot of great interactions in here. I love that. This is the reason I love jumping on and doing live streams, is to get that type of interaction. So whether you were in here for the long haul or for part of it or a replay, thank you so much. You only have so much time in the day, and if you're jumping in to share some of it with us, I truly appreciate it. And Huck, KB, Tim, Tony, I really appreciate you all jumping on with this, and hopefully I didn't keep you too late for tonight. So
Yeah, it was good.
It was
I had a
good.
good time.
but I know not to keep you any longer, but do any of you have anything you want to throw out there you got coming up, or?
My only thing is I'm hitting my 100th mug, y'all. So on Tuesday morning, please come on by the Pop Culture Cafe Tuesday morning and check out the 100th episode of the mug. Maybe we'll get some mugs on there with me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
If
All right.
if anyone is not subscribed to me, by the way, I'm four subscribers away from 4,000. So
Get Tim to 4K.
Go,
4K.
Tim,
Wow.
get it.
Wow, somebody, get him to 4K. I'm already sub. I think we're all sub to you that on the panel,
Yeah.
here, so we can't help you out there, but or we better be. No, just kidding. But no, that's awesome, man. That's a big milestone. Pretty close.
I have a conversation coming up on Monday with Sweet and Spooky, my girl Celeste. So come and check it out. 8 p.m. Eastern. So come and stop by, hang out in the chat.
So the conversation days, they're kind of changing a little bit, different days.
It's usually Monday or Wednesdays. I prefer Wednesdays, but I try to be flexible with people's schedules. So if they can't do it Wednesday, I'll offer a Monday.
I've been trying to watch the replays because sometimes I just can't make the actual night.
No worries. I appreciate the watch.
Yeah, I know it's hard. You got so many things going on, life and other things. So yeah, I try to hit live when I can, but yeah, I'm right there with you, Tony. Like a lot of times I'm hitting some replays, but everybody's saying good night and great stream. So I'll wrap it up here. So not to keep you any longer, but again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight, and we'll talk to you all here real soon. We'll talk to you later. Have a good night.